episode. Oh. Okay, I'm getting all kinds of sound. Where? Oh, there it is. Okay, I had two tabs open. Good afternoon, everybody. It's episode 56 of Hxro Labs Live. This is RT in the studio, in the lab, with a special guest today from TradingView. Coming up a little bit later in the show, we're going to be interviewing Pierce Crosby from TradingView, and he's in New York, coming on to talk charts, talk product. Let us know what's going on over there at TradingView today, which is great news because we literally live on TradingView. So I'm really excited to sort of pick his brain, dive into it. And I will tell you this, I have some insight into the Bitcoin dominance chart, what's going on with that, what's on the back end, the code that goes into that, and more importantly, what's up with the anomalies. We're gonna discuss that because I think we've got a pretty good handle on it based on what we just spoke about before the stream. So stick around for that. And then after our interview today, possibly around the top of the hour, maybe 3 o'clock Eastern time, I'm going to actually go back to the charts once we say goodbye to Pierce, and we're going to just do a full scan of the entire Binance Bitcoin pair list. Now, I say that as I realize in my head that there might be a few newly listed pairs that aren't even on my list. So as we go through that, you guys can give me a shout out. We'll add them. But I have a 3-step sort of scan that I like to do using the flags on TradingView. Scan for location, then scan that, and scan for divergence, then scan that, and scan for market structure. And what we're going to hopefully come out with is a list, an exhaustive list of all the best looking charts on Binance for the Bitcoin trading pairs. And that's really good news because Bitcoin just dropped the dominance, I should say. Well, Bitcoin dropped. No, it didn't. But the Bitcoin dominance just dropped significantly, possibly kicking off our new risk on window if it closes below 64.5% later today. And that's a big if because ETH BTC is at resistance. So does it pull back before the close and just a big fake out and that's nasty? It could happen. But we're going to wait for confirmation of that trend, and that'll happen in about 5 hours. So let's hope that maintains. I bought a few dips this weekend. I bought another dip this morning. I'm going to tell you about all that. So let's flip over to the charts here because I really want to get to this interview. But for those of you who are on Friday, I did promise. Okay, I got to flip my tab over here. That's that juggle I was talking about. And then we're going to go over here. And I'm going to go over here. Get all this sorted out. We've got Dave Millett in the chat there. Good to see you, Dave. As well as, okay, we're going to flip up to that screen share there, Johnny. All right, excellent. We got Dave in here missing the smooth jazz intro. Yep, me too. That was really weird and not really on brand, but I loved it. And it was a great way to get the day started. Jones, great to see you. Also, should mention, before we get into this chart, we're doing our giveaway today, which is 1 year of TradingView Premium, which is a service I use and paid quite a bit for. Couple years back when I bought the Black Friday sale. I bought the 2-year because I figured I'm going to be around for 2 years. Might as well get the best deal. And we're actually giving that away today on behalf of Pierce Crosby and TradingView. They're hooking us up. And the odds, sorry, the giveaway is closed at this point because I've already prepared the spreadsheet, but the odds turned out to be 1 in 25. We got 25 good entries, people that retweeted the contest with any chart, basically. I said the sexiest chart because I want to see sexy charts. But if you're new to charting, that's not really fair to exclude you from the thing. So everybody gets an entry. That's 25, 1 in 25 chance of winning basically $1,000. So pretty dope. We're going to give that away at the end of the interview today. All right. How's the microphone? Awesome. Okay. So we're up to 15 viewers. We're going to push, see if we can get up to 30 before the interview. We've got a few minutes left. So let's take a quick look at Bitcoin. This is a chart I've had on here for the weekly. It is getting dangerously close to the all-time highs in a good way. We've got the fib extension from the entire 2019 rally that would put a tap of the 1618 at about 20,652. So that's actually a level. If we go over all-time highs, I know a lot of people will think that's the beginning of something, and it might be definitely on the higher time frames. But for me, if we do go over the all-time highs, I feel like that's going to be a wick on the weekly, and we'll have to just come back and reset. That's just market flow for me. I'm not in a rush to call tops. I'm basically at a point where I'm comfortable sitting in Bitcoin for the next year or two. I would like to not ride an entire pullback. but I'm mostly focused on altcoins, and I'll show you why in a sec. This is the dominance chart that we always keep an eye on, the weather map, so to speak. And after this big, strong trend up, we tapped this chaos level, kind of sick, 88.6, basically 67%, and then just absolutely tanked back down. So waiting for this means you missed the exact bottom. We've talked about that, but you catch the bigger trend. And so right now we are back into a risk on window. This candle could do whatever it wants for the next 5 hours. So I'm not going to call it yet. We do need to wait. Just like last night, if you zoom in here, we were actually below. It's kind of right on the line here, but look at this. Oh, see, like last night we closed, but look at that. We closed right back up above. So, you know, eh, it's really up to you. I know a lot of guys are already in altcoins. I realized today as I put out a tweet this morning with all my bags that I have like 30 altcoins. So I'm a big altcoin player right now. I'm already in, but I'm not cranking up anything like leverage or anything until we get that confirmation. Now, this is a big chart to watch, obviously. ETH BTC went right down to that gap fill in the VPVR that we've been watching right here, the stilt gap. At the time when we first tweeted that out and started talking about it on stream, it didn't seem as likely for a lot of people. I don't think they believed us. We were up here, we were above this big support. But these stilt gaps, they're just, it's market efficiency. You gotta kind of check these levels. And so we came in, we double dipped, and then exploded. So that's really nice to see. The volume is continually rising. I do see a pause here or a pullback, and that's going to be a really interesting dip, I think, to buy. Like that's generally speaking. Now, I don't trade this pair, but I use it as the gauge for all the rest of the altcoins. So when I say like if this pulls back, I'm buying the dip. Probably not on ETH BTC. I might switch whatever Bitcoin I have left back over to ETH, but mostly I'm watching the altcoins. And we're going to get a scan. I can briefly describe it for those of you as like a little teaser for later. Basically, I make a red list so I can actually clear this because this is old. So I use the red list and then I use the orange list. This is an old scan I did a few weeks ago. We can get rid of that. We're going to do it live today. And then I end it with a green list. And by the time we're done, we end up with a green list of just all the best ones, the coins that are in location, parked in the RLZ, the coins that have bullish divergence as they arrived at that location, suggesting they're going to reverse from that location. And of those ones, we're going to even just pull the ones that just confirm bullish market structure on the 4-hour or the daily. And so with that list, we might end up with 2, we might end up with 6 or 12, but every single one of them is going to have those 3 reasons for a good trade. And we're going to set some levels. And if ETH BTC does dip, as I expect it might, that's going to be the fill on a lot of these alts. And then we just got to hope if we get a nice big rally for the next few weeks. I still think December is probably going to be a shocker for a lot of people. End of year tax selling. There's a few sort of Jupiter, Pluto, whatever. You know, there's a lot of little things coming up in December that tell me we'll get a little shaky. But for now, some of these charts, I mean, BLZ is one that I am long on in a few ways. I bought some on futures on this 382 today. I have a bag from down here on First Bitcoin. So there's a few of these that are just looking sharp. So let's take a quick look at a couple things as we start to fill up. We're up to 23 people. Great to see you guys in the chat there. We're going to probably end up closer to 30 just in time for our interview. The Dixie is sitting on support today, riding down this trend line channel top, which is interesting. Just tagged it like to a pip at 92. So, you know, we'll keep an eye on that. If it just chills in this range, I don't think it's going to be a story at all. But if it breaks down from here, actually, I should just set that alert. I want to know if it breaks to a new low. So we're going to go down to, let's say 91.99. Nice round number just below it. So if it breaks that, I'd like to know about it. That's pretty bullish for everything else we're trading. And I guess let's just say 93.245. If it breaks above that. 4.5. You know, if it breaks above that, it's not like doomsday, but it's like, you know, significant enough. Little higher high on this mini consolidation here. I want to check that out. Not really a higher high, but, you know, bullish market structure. So that's what I'm looking for on the Dixie. Bitcoin, you guys may recall, I've been watching this range. Once we got that big nuke last week, it made sense that Bitcoin got shocked into a range and wouldn't just continue on its strong trend right away. And that's kind of what we've seen. We've just seen it playing with the range highs here, broke down, tagged the range EQ over the weekend, bounced up, bounced off the range high, broke in, bounced up, bounced off the range high, broke in. So it is doing exactly what we want it to do, right? For the last 2 months, everyone's like, man, if Bitcoin would just chill out, my altcoins would go up. Well, that's what it's doing. And so all of these dumps, even though they look really violent, it's just part of this range. And so these dumps actually do cause altcoins to dip, and those are the RLZ tags. Those are the pump chaser tags. Those are the kinds of dips we want to be buying, at least I want to be buying, which is a great time to remind everyone none of this is financial advice. You should not be coming here to say like, I'm going to do exactly what RT says, because, that's just not my job. But I am here to tell you what I'm doing, and I'm buying dips on altcoins while this is ranging. So basically any downside on Bitcoin that's within this range is a dip I'm buying. A loss of these range lows, and I'm going to have to eat shit and cut all my positions and just go back to waiting. And that's okay. There's risk built into that. It's just the way she goes. So, well, look at that. We're at 29. Perfect. Just in time for our interview in just a minute. I think the last thing I'll look at here is the Ethereum weekly. We're seeing a really nice move up off of that key level that we've been watching, somewhat like the other chart, but this one's just a little more zoomed out. And speaking of zooming out, what's our target? Well, if we break out from this previous high from the summer, which I expect we will at some point, we're going to be looking all the way up here at 5.5, which would be sort of an extension. And I bet there's a fib extension that will help us there as well. That's just the way this shit works. Yeah, right in the middle of the fib extension. So that's going to be a really sweet target for anyone who's like, man, I got these alts and I want to know if there's going to be another big pivot in the market. So if we break these highs, which probably won't happen today or this week, but if we do, keep an eye out on the 0.05 level on Ethereum Bitcoin chart, because that is going to catch some resistance. That's probably a great place to be thinking about your first leg of paying yourself. Now, Chaos PRZ, kind of halfway there. It's kind of sandwiching the whole thing, so not very significant for now. But we'll see what comes out of this. That'll give us a better Chaos PRZ to work with. So as we get ready, I think we're good to go. I think we're ready to start up the interview. Yeah. So without further delay, everybody, I'd like to jump back over to the studio. Let me share. I'm gonna flip this tab over here, and let's have a big round of applause for Pierce Crosby. Welcome to Hero Labs Live.
Boom. Good to be here.
I see. There he is. Oh, dialing in from. How you doing?
Good. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no, really great to have you on here. I mean, you get a lot of, a lot of interviews in crypto. It's like, it's a lot of traders. It's a lot of that. But I mean, you work at TradingView. You, to some extent, run it, I imagine. You're what's your title there? The GM?
Yeah, for North America, I'm the GM of the business. So my job to do, I'm basically glorified janitor. But yeah, no, it's a great role, and tons of flexibility. Basically, my job is to be the eyes and ears of the company here in the US, and then whatever strategies we build here, we obviously map globally. So
yeah, because I mean, you guys, I think one of the things that's lost on a lot of people is that you guys have a lot of international communities. I mean, like even just the ideas section on TradingView that I look through is just for my region. You guys have, Turkish, Russian, all these different ones. Is that correct?
Yeah. I mean, the US is about 40% of the business, but but broadly speaking, I mean, yeah, we have audiences in India, Singapore, Japan. I've just looked into our data in Brazil. We actually have a huge audience in Brazil, which is funny because it's actually related to crypto. But yeah, we have all these kind of various audiences, and together it kind of makes the composite TradingView community, if you will. And great mashup of voices, obviously, right? Because you have all these different use cases around the world, whether it's getting access to, FX data, equities data, crypto data, you name it.
Yeah, and I've heard from my friend from Brazil, one of my trader buddies, that crypto's big in there and it's growing and sort of a booming area. Now I see a few pop-ups in the chat already. Somebody saying, we have requests for features and all that stuff. Fixing this, adding more hotkeys. What would you say to somebody who has ideas on how you guys can improve your product? What's the outlet for them to reach out to TradingView?
I mean, obviously we love feedback, and funny enough, actually, we're constantly watching social channels. So if you write us on Twitter or Facebook, chances are somebody's going to respond to you within a day. But if you don't get a response, we do always have our support channel. So bear with us, but we have something in the range of 10 people that are constantly managing our support channels. And so feel free to send a note to support at TradingView. My buddy Jasper will be kind of mad for me saying that, but at the same time, that's how we get a lot of feedback. So yeah, I mean, again, keep in mind, we try to build for everybody. And so, if you have a very, very specific request, please try to think about the masses and, keep in mind that, we're building for a global audience. So if it's a super niche, indicator that you want that might, somewhat help kind of the divergences in price or something like this, it's going to be on the laundry list, but just keep in mind that there's billions and billions of requests, so we get every day.
I can imagine. Yeah, no. And, like for example here, Need for Beat says improvement ideas, add new shortcuts. It says, I miss a shortcut between line and candlestick charts. So, those little kinds of quirks. And I mean, like any business, I would recommend for anyone to just reach out through the proper channels. And I actually emailed support last week. I got a shout back in about 12 hours. So
there you go.
In that sense, you guys are kicking ass. And this week you're launching basically the best time of year to buy anything related to TradingView. I was going to kind of talk about it at the end, but let's just touch on that. I actually have only ever bought trading
for Black Friday
during Black Friday, because I even know people that are just like, well, I've been buying monthly for a bit because I'm going to buy the whole 2-year thing. Something like, what is it? I saw in your tweet today, like 72 cents a day or something for premium.
Yeah. I mean, literally, if you back it out, I mean, we're doing something like 60% off for all of our plans. So it's kind of one of those unique opportunities where people, obviously find us, throughout the year, and then eventually they'll realize, oh, wait, Black Friday. I'll change my renewal, so that I basically wait until that moment to kind of kick things off. So I mean, it's definitely probably our biggest revenue event of the year, for sure, because people have really locked that in. So I highly encourage people to sign up for a discount. And I mean, 72 cents a day. I mean, I don't know how much cheaper you could get really for a product like ours, but
it's tough to beat. I mean, for me, it was a no-brainer because my plan, my goal, my process is to be a trader, and I'm thinking long-term. So it was like, oh, I'm going to be around 2 years at least. I might as well buy the full 2 year. And for sure, at the time, it was like, oh, that's $1,400. That hit me, but then I haven't paid for it in like years. So I obviously would advocate for it because I use it every day, and it's obviously paid for itself by now. So that's exciting. And maybe a couple more details closer to the end of the show. We are giving away a year of that in about 45 minutes. So guys, stick around. I want to know what you trade on TradingView. Like, what do you chart? I know you work there. You must have some of that sort of insight into some of the best offerings. I would imagine you're fairly expert at using TradingView. Do you want to maybe share with us some of your favorite indicators, some of the tools you use, maybe some lesser known settings? Where's your edge when you're trading in the market, and what do you like to trade the most?
Well, so I'm, even though I'm, I guess crypto, I mean, I was there early days in 2016, 2017, but in terms of what I trade day to day, I'm actually not so much a crypto trader as I am still an equities trader. And, this actually harks back to my time at my previous company called StockTwits, where we were basically, an equities shop. And before that, I actually worked at Thomson Reuters, which was an equity shop as well in terms of, kind of high performance, super fast news and research. And so that's probably where I spend most of my time. If I'm looking at given charts any day, obviously I'm going to start from the top down. So I am looking at crypto as it is, kind of relative to the S&P 500, as well as as you pulled up the dollar index. I actually look at the dollar futures, but it's more or less the same cut of the cloth. Of course, I'm watching gold relative to that as well. And then the major indices. So, I don't just look at the S&P 500. I mean, recently we've had a huge divergence in various indices. So, NASDAQ outperforming for the entire year, S&P underperforming. Russell is actually breaking out recently. And so
Russell 2000?
Yeah.
See, I don't know what that is as a crypto guy. Like hear guys on my other trade channel
Yeah.
talking about it, like, the Russell 2000. It just sounds like a 70s porn star or something. Like, what is the
Yeah,
Russell
how does that work?
2000 in it?
You got to watch out for the Russell 2000.
Yeah,
Dangerous. Yeah.
like the Russell 2000 just sounds like some, retro
Yeah.
product. I mean, what is,
Some old guy
in
with
a
the mullet
nutshell?
or something. Yeah, it's mid
What is
cap and
that?
small cap stocks. So basically, the majors. So the Dow Jones. The Dow Jones is maybe the oldest. Well, it is actually the oldest, but literally the most composite index of say industrials, energy, all this stuff. Whereas the Russell specifically looks at small cap and mid cap companies. So obviously a lot more volatility involved, but they maybe multi-billion-dollar companies versus multi-trillion-dollar companies. So I mean, S&P 500 and Nasdaq really just encapsulate kind of that top quartile of companies, right? So you have the blue chips and the kind of the billion-dollar, the multi-billion and now multi-trillion, I guess, dollar companies in the market. So the Russell looks at 2,000 companies that basically have a market cap between, I think it's 25 billion, and they go down to 3 or 4 billion. And that's kind of the composite index. It's a better indication of kind of small business growth, which is kind of what they were trying to get to. So, I mean, during the pandemic, it's been really beaten up relative to the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq, because obviously those are companies that we know are going to survive. Whereas kind of the Russell, or maybe these guys that are a little bit on the edge, and so as a result, it's a better indication of overall kind of economic health, at least for the U.S. There's probably various indicators in Canada or the UK that'll do something similar for you. But yeah, so that's a good one to watch for sure. But anyways, crypto show. So I mean, we could talk crypto for days too. But if you guys ever wanted kind of more information on the broader equities world, that's usually where I spend most of my time, just because. I mean, I thought I was pretty close to the crypto world maybe in 2016, 17. And broadly speaking, the speed at which it moves has just made me very clearly a loser in the situation of not being able to follow things closely enough to actually have an edge, right?
It is. Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It's tough. I mean, ask family, ask friends, ask my girlfriend. Like it's a 24/7 grind. Even on Saturday morning, it was 6 a.m. Sunday morning, 6 a.m. where the whole market dumped, which is a beautiful dip. I was waiting for that dip, and I woke up at 6 a.m. I was like, shit,
you got to be on it.
I jump out of bed, my alerts are firing, I'm rushing over. And I think the key to fixing that is having that trade plan. We talk all the time about having a plan, setting Fibonacci, the Fibonacci retracement tool, by the way, my hands down favorite tool.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just crack. Like this thing, price just seems to slide into it and then bounce perfectly if it's going to bounce. And it's so reliable. And I noticed a few guys hitting me up on Twitter that are like, oh my God, dude, you're right. Like this thing, like it's, I'm trying to get the viral spread of this tool because it just seems like it captures the vibrations of the markets. And, once you have that set, just say on Saturday, and I have my alerts in there, even some orders, it's okay. I don't need to be there when it happens.
It's done for you, right?
Yeah. And one of the things I always talk about with TradingView is the app, the phone app, and the fact that it just pops up on my phone, and it's exciting. I set those alerts and I almost don't want to look, and then it's like Christmas morning, you're just like, oh shit, Bitcoin's less than 18.4. I must have hit my fill. And then you look and Bitcoin's at like 18.9. You're like, oh, and I'm already up. So like, it's the exciting part of it. And I think, but like you said, if you're looking at all those other things in the stock market and that, this would be extra, and it moves so fast, and there's so many games, because for the large players who are in the space, it's like, must be like a sandbox. They just get to play around, and just takes $1 billion to move the entire market, whereas mess around with equities and you're going to need a few hundred billion. So I'm sure that I could see how that happens. Now, do you park, say, some longer term positions in crypto for the sake of just having exposure but not necessarily wanting to play in the market every day?
Yeah, of course. I mean, a long-term believer, and I mean, broadly speaking, if I look at overall kind of allocation strategy, I definitely bought in on the March lows and was really excited to even have the opportunity to put in more money. But since then I've kind of been hands off, and broadly speaking, now at this kind of range, you get a little jittery, right? Just on a relative basis. But even so, my adding on, I mean, I remember actually, so I threw a conference. It was a trading conference back in, let's see, March of 2017. And we had Fred Wilson at the time at Uniswap Ventures who came and spoke, and he had just actually invested in Coinbase about 6 or maybe almost a year prior. And so, I mean, Fred's a brilliant guy, and broadly speaking, I don't expect to have any more knowledge than Fred might. And so, his general advice was, yeah, I'm not really sure where this goes, but I do happen to have 5% of my net wealth in there, and I'm just kind of waiting and seeing. And so I took that to heart, I think, at the time, and I mean, now it's a larger percentage of my net wealth, I guess. But yeah, I mean, that was kind of the first rule of thumb, is just have a percentage in, and kind of shield your eyes. I mean, best case scenario, you wake up in 20 years and you're doing okay. And that's kind of more of my approach for crypto. I'm still a huge believer, and I've actually run into a couple crazy kind of happenstance situations where I was given like advisory shares for a couple coins and stuff like that, but I don't really think that I have any edge there. So I worry about kind of diving in too much to play the currencies myself. But I mean, what we do at TradingView is we look at all the data across the ecosystem and try to identify what are market trends overall. We've been looking at crypto specifically over the past couple of months just to see how many of our investors are really focused on it on a relative basis, because we have kind of ebbs and flows from different asset class to different asset class, because most people that use TradingView are actually trading multiple asset classes. And so, if you look at kind of the historical trend of people that are focused on crypto, right around the beginning of October is when we see kind of a huge shift. And that's because people actually also started allocating out of equities, because there's a lot of kind of economic, a lot of issues that people had no kind of clarity on from the US economic sphere that basically freaked them out to the degree that they want to just focus on crypto rather than focus on equities. And so,
well, you get the election, you got the 20% of US dollars being printed this year, like all that stuff.
Right? Yeah, right, exactly. And so, small features in the larger scope. Yeah. So, I mean, that's really what, creeps people out. And so, they think, all right, well, I can park some cash in crypto and, maybe trade this on a, kind of a normal basis rather than, looking at short-term trends or kind of flip trades for the equities world. Because, I mean, it's for a brief period of time there, right after the election, equities is actually trading like crypto, on a relative basis, moving 10% a day in certain assets. And so, people got wiped out, people made a lot of money too. But yeah, I mean, when volatility's up, everything's relative. So it's quite interesting to see that ebb and flow. But yeah, I mean, broadly speaking, just so you guys are kind of hip to the general kind of breakdown, about 25% of our audience focuses on crypto as their primary asset. So you can really think about that as a pretty good base of users. Per month, we have about 15 million monthly active users across the product. And so, on kind of, I mean, if you're really thinking about the addressable, something like 3.5 to 4 million traders every month are coming to TradingView just to trade crypto.
That's pretty impressive. And I imagine that, I mean, as a Bitcoin and crypto bull, I imagine that's going to grow with the shift back into what we expect will be a bull cycle. And I always say that, like, I want to say I know we're going into a big FU bull market, but I always try to live in the probabilities world where I just say, well, it's probably going to happen, and not ever say things like guaranteed and for sure.
Percentage confidence.
Percentage confidence. I think a lot of people like that. They want that warm, cozy blanket around them that says, I know what's going to happen. And so from a content creator perspective, I'd probably be better off just giving out those big, bold predictions, but I will try to avoid that. But what I'm basically saying is through this next, what most likely will be a bull cycle, I expect those numbers would grow. And Ali over here in the chat asked a question that I had on my mind as you were talking. He said, can we get an indicator that shows percentage of users focused on crypto? Like that kind of data, that's back-end data for you guys, right?
Yeah. Whether or not we resurface that, that's interesting.
Yeah, what do you think about kicking that out as like even like a header on the, something where you could just be like, hey, like, because I mean that's that kind of stuff where once it gets up to a certain height, like the fear greed index, you're like, holy shit, everybody's into crypto now. That's
Yeah.
either a great sign
Yeah.
or
Is it a
concerning
contrarian indicator or
or
yeah,
whatever,
exactly.
right? So that's an interesting question, I think. Ali says, "Yeah, we need this live indicator, just like a gas gauge here, just going up and down." Like,
Yeah, in real time.
yeah.
Yeah, I
So
mean, it's interesting too because it may not be known, but we also license a lot of our technology out to the broader crypto sphere. So I don't know what you guys use for actual trading purposes, but a
widgets,
lot of
though.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
I always say, I'm like, get the TradingView widget on your
there you go.
exchange. I've worked with a lot of startup exchanges, and my first thing is like, guys, stop, just
Stop
stop.
trying to do it.
Yeah, stop
Yeah,
trying to create charts. Just like get the widget because they've
yeah,
done it
yeah,
perfectly, and there's no
yeah.
need to create your own,
Why would
recreate the
you go
wheel.
about reinventing the wheel exactly? And
Exactly.
so it's funny because a lot of people that want to pull our data plus our widgets, we still see kind of that traffic on our side because our widgets kind of track each person that queries BTC USD from one of our widgets all over the financial web. And so I've really been thinking about not just the traffic on TradingView, but out of all the widgets that we have across kind of the global universe, could we actually aggregate that and create some kind of composite index?
Yeah, like some some quant data. Because
Yeah,
and from a biz dev perspective, I bet you could package and sell that. To be honest, like I
yeah,
would like to know that data. I would probably find a way, like, my intention with that data would be to use it to make money.
mhm,
Therefore, it has value. So, I mean, yeah, I mean, data aggregation like that would be pretty powerful stuff.
yeah, yeah.
Sort of
Well, and to be
from,
clear, I mean, in my old job, I actually built that business for StockTwits. So there's
okay.
a there's an enterprise data business at StockTwits, and they aggregate just all this chatter. So StockTwits is basically a social network, and so all the chatter that's pulled together, they basically compile a sentiment score, and it's definitely in its infancy. It could be better, but the fact that they have something is actually really cool. And so we're thinking about how we could potentially kind of build something in there. I don't think it'll be as comprehensive as the data across the global universe of widgets, but yeah, I'll keep it in mind, and yeah, I'll definitely surface the feedback with the team. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I'm just throwing that out there for conversation's sake.
yeah,
I wouldn't take it as like a
yeah.
legitimate request,
Must
but
do.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
come on,
Yeah.
Pierce, like do it for us.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's good data, and if nothing else, being on the back end, you could just be looking at that. I mean, there's your edge that you were looking for as far as like, but again, how to exactly use it and spit it out.
Mhm.
Now, you guys got into streaming this year, which we are
Mhm.
actually doing right now, obviously on
Mhm.
your new beta streaming. How's that going?
Good so far. I mean, it's definitely much more complex than we thought it was going to be. Live streaming and simulcasting across products is a mind-bendingly difficult task. And who knew, right? I mean, I guess Twitch and those guys definitely knew, and that was their innovation, right? But they're built on infinitely scalable AWS, whereas we're built on our own server stack and our dedicated servers kind of around the world.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it's definitely been a walk through the valley, if you will, to really kind of figure out how we can build fantastic product. But I mean, today we have something in the range of 800 streamers across all of our different sites. So obviously, you visit kind of our English sites, just tradingview.com, but for those who don't know, I mean, we have upwards of 20 different language versions. So, if you went to TradingView Japan, you'd actually see a completely separate website with, separate influencers, separate streamers, and separate traders kind of using that product. So building all these kind of multiple versions with the streaming product has been, yeah, I mean, a pretty big undertaking by the team. But yeah, I mean, we're trying to push it to alpha. I mean, it's still in beta, so obviously we're trying to limit the number of people that use it. I mean, if for example we turned on streaming for everybody tomorrow, it would basically drop our whole system, right? I mean, it's
Yeah.
a huge number of users, all kind of streaming real time kind of video through our platform. Yeah, I mean the
That
weight
would,
of that streaming service alone would crush us for sure. So
yeah, no, that makes sense. You're kind of in that stress testing phase and learning very much like I did that, streaming as much apparently on the back end as the front end is not as easy as it looks. And, I'm getting into this just in early July. I had done a few live streams here and there. But once, I started working with Hxro Labs and he said, okay, we're going to get a live stream going. I'm going to start it up on TradingView July 4th, whatever it was. And you know, the first day, like I didn't have my music monitored in my headset. It was just spitting out to everyone live, and it was so friggin' loud, and I had no idea. And I said to people in the chat, you know, like, let me know if the levels are okay. And I guess they were my buddies. They were trying to be nice. So it was 25 minutes in, and they finally said like, hey, music's a bit loud. Oh my God, dude. I rewatched that stream and I was like, ooh, oh, delete it. It was so awful. And it's been that way for, you know, about 6 weeks. There was just some little thing, whether it's like the lights flickering or this. And so I have a lot more sort of respect for the more mainstream streamers that you see, those guys that just, you know, like the one I always think of is Ninja, you know, the gamer guy who makes like 500K a month. You think, oh, nice life. But I mean, that dude probably has to grind on his ass sitting there playing video games for 12 hours a day, every day. And now he can pay and outsource all the things he has to do with that content. But everyone starts
really
somewhere,
yeah.
And I imagine it's an absolute grind. It is an absolute grind, you know, making new videos every day, get the channel out. We just hit 1,000 subscribers on our YouTube, and that took a couple months. And so, deep respect for the streamers in the space, and love what you guys are doing over at TradingView. And you know, we're pumped to be on there and getting some good views on there as well.
And
I think it's a great.
I mean, the early adopters are really kind of the lifeblood of the platform. So I mean, keep in mind that, you know, while it is really in early days, once we get towards that alpha release, I mean, we really don't even promote streams that much. It kind of exists as, you know, like a subversion of TradingView overall. But keep in mind that you know, when we actually do go for the alpha and do kind of a much larger release, you could expect kind of the numbers to start racking up really quickly, because, you know, one thing is the back end, just getting everything right on the back end side of things. But once we have everything really set up, I mean, there's a lot of kind of distribution potential, not just on tradingview.com, but elsewhere. And we're trying to build it so that, you know, much like the widgets, you know, you could actually embed real-time streaming on your own website. And then, you know, I mean, we're just the software, if you will.
But I've seen that feature is in your testing, right? To like kind of restream automatically to another site, which is great. And then obviously you have that built-in user base. So when they're following you, say in the ideas section, it just pings them when you go live. And I hear rumors that it might even be able to someday pop up overlaying a chart so that you don't have to leave your charts alone to watch it, which is pretty dope.
Those are rumors,
all kinds of rumors floating around. Now for the crypto question, just before we move away from
of course.
You said you're kind of more on the high time frame stuff. What's in your bag?
Oh, right now, now, ETH, a lot of ETH, and you know, not nearly enough BTC. But besides that, you know, the only other thing that I have in the bag, well, Uniswap, because obviously the airdrop, and let's see, what else do I have? Well, so I was talking about the whole altcoin world, and this crazy kind of occurrence happened where, well, when the whole DeFi thing was really kicking off, I ran into a couple folks that were building out the initial YAM product, and then on top of that, I also ran into the guys who built. I don't know if you ran into Meme Coin. Did you hear about that?
I did. Yeah, it's an NFT token. I think it was like an airdropper, wasn't it? Some kind of
giveaway? It was basically and this is again where I think of like the, you know, some of that early alpha for the crypto landscape. You know, I just happened to be online at, you know, like 8 o'clock at night on a Friday. And it was Jordan from Consensus who basically invited me into a Telegram chat where these people were just joking around about how ridiculous the DeFi world is. Next thing you know, they had fully built a token from scratch, which is this thing called Meme, and then proceeded to airdrop it to everybody that was in the Telegram at the time. So all of a sudden, we just had 300 Meme on our hands and had no idea, you know, what it was worth. I mean, the guy who built it basically put in $150 just to write the contract. So, you know, any given meme coin or something was worth maybe 10 cents. You know, if you look at the chart, I mean, it's pretty wild. Like,
oh yeah, that thing shot up to like 1,200 bucks. That's why I was just giving you the eyes there. I was like, holy shit. We're going to pull that up right now. Just for anyone who didn't see that happen, I will go here.
Yeah, I think you can probably get it through I'm trying to think of how do we have. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, there you go. So the short-term trend, yeah.
Look at this thing. So you're saying this was just like a fun idea between friends?
Fun idea between friends. It
in
literally
August?
was. Yep,
Yeah,
yep.
and it just kind of.
The crazy thing is the more that people actually got interested in it, the idea came after the fact. So the coin was kind of born first, and then the idea kind of started circulating around how was the currency for the art world. Like a lot of these companies, like Super Rare, etc., started accepting meme coin. And a lot of the early kind of digital artists started using it as their go-to. And next thing you know, right? I mean, it was absolutely parabolic. And I think it was, purely a FOMO thing. I mean, they had a really solid kind of, I guess they built a lot of different staking opportunities, as well as, different pools of liquidity. And again, the DeFi world is just like mind-boggling to me. So I have no competitive advantage there. Just right place, right time kind of situation.
Oh, absolutely. I will say this. I wish I had a better story, because I'm going to tell you a sad story. This is a funny thing, though. Actually, on stream, we were talking about NFTs this day in September, and one of the guys, and I said at one point, because I only caught this on a rewatch later when I was checking back to checking on sound and audio quality, whatever. And somebody in the chat actually said meme ? When I like asked about anybody have any other NFT tokens, like let us know. And I rewatched it and I was like, oh shit, like this guy just okay,
just
cool.
happened to drop that idea.
So I went and checked meme, and it was up already, obviously a little bit since the stream. It had popped like $100 or $50. Oh, it's not gonna load right now because we're live. But basically this happened after the stream, and I was like, oh man, we missed it.
Yeah. Game over.
I just left it, and then it was like, oh, get wrecked. So that's
that's kind of how I feel about Bitcoin today, right? I mean, if you actually zoom out and look at the same timescales, Bitcoin resembles something similar in the recent run, right? So I know
not quite this part, but yeah, definitely.
No, I'm saying early FOMO play where it's, moves say moves 100% or moves 50%. You're like, all right, I missed it. But then you realize, like, well, I mean, relatively speaking, it's still tiny. So you always got to keep that in mind when looking at longer term charts. Is like, well, I mean, it's still relatively small. I mean, we're not actually looking at something very, very substantial versus any other stores of wealth, right? So,
that's the thing, right? It's if you just try to compare it to gold, right, it gets a lot of this new age gold and digital gold. And I read a tweet today actually that said if Bitcoin hit gold's market cap, it would be worth like something like 430,000 per Bitcoin. So that's your relative thing. Now, on that note, when I first bought Bitcoin, which now now it looks kind of cool, but I'll tell you this story real quick.
Yeah, I see you're using the volume studies as well. I was going to say, I mean, I do love the volume studies for the kind of visible range on the side there. Yeah.
Oh yeah, the VPVR is pretty much my favorite tool. I mean, it's just really good for location, right? You already have some confluence there, and you say, okay, price is probably going to reach for that node, and it can give you that edge. Now, this is my story of joining crypto right here, okay? Because I think it was May 17th, and I listened to the Joe Rogan podcast, and I bought some, and I didn't look at a chart, right? You don't look at charts at that point. I was on like Coin Marketcap, just looking at the percentages. So I had no sense of gravity or location, and I bought some here and then some here, and of course this is all-time highs at the time, right? Again, I have no idea of any of that crap. I'm just like, must buy Bitcoin, taking big risks at the time. And then it was here, and I went to my bank and I took some risks. I put it all in. It took me like a week to get it in, and I think I FOMO'd in right here,
right around there.
And I literally woke up the next morning, and there was an article that's like, pop goes the weasel, Bitcoin drops 30% overnight as bears rush into and I shit myself. I was like, oh my God, I'm ruined, blah, blah, blah. But at that point, I'm not selling at a loss. And then of course that summer
recovery,
this was alt season, but it really rolled over during the Bcash fork. And then I mean, I think that, just shouting out to anyone who's like you said, if they're saying, well, I'm late, I wouldn't say I mean, you're late in this particular leg. I mean,
Yeah.
for
In
sure,
this
this
small
is a
cycle.
little bit
Yeah.
late. We've been talking
Yeah.
about Bitcoin all friggin' year.
I mean, if you literally just look at the size of the candles, right? I mean, that's what I look at on dailies. I just look at the actual candle sizes, and on a daily chart, the candles in Bitcoin are just like astronomical. You're looking at the weeklies, right? I mean, yeah, same story. It's just the percentage move at the time horizon that it's moving at. I mean, that's a fade opportunity for sure.
Yeah, on the high time frames, this is I think even if it goes to here, like this whole little part of it though is just not where you want to be, like adding big risk to your account, right? It's probably as a rule
leveraging up. No.
But then, like you said, let's zoom out. Let's be relative to sort of what's going on in the world and where this fits into the global, sort of economy if it's going to become a thing. And I think that's pretty much for sure now. I think the people who decide what things get to be things have decided that Bitcoin's going to be here and it's going to be around. And you can see that with the institutional interest that we're seeing. And so this is more the view that I take on that. As you mentioned, the 10-year horizon. So is this too late? Yes. Is this too late? No. And it really comes back to who you are, what your investment plan is, your exposure to other things.
What's your broadly speaking, like how much do you actually need this money versus how much are you just putting it in a safe place and basically watching it ride, right? I mean, anybody like who actually needs cash on hand, I don't encourage you to like go over leveraged in anything, right? Just keep it on hand. But I mean, those that actually have money to put aside and don't have anything to do with it, I mean, this is a long-term story. And again, if you overlay any chart on top of that, from a market cap perspective, I don't know if you've gone into a lot of the fundamental stuff we have now.
But if you what do you?
Well, so if
you're down here,
if you're up at the financials, there's up top there on the top bar next to indicators. So you can overlay the market cap for any company or any asset, right? So a good example, say, is Apple's market cap. If we just want to compare that, right? So just do market cap.
So we'll go here. Yeah, guide me through this one because this is interesting. This is exactly the kind of like new ideas that I was hoping to discuss today.
Sure. So it should appear below your chart.
It's giving us a little thing here.
So if you click into setting, that's a strategy tester. No.
Oh, not available for this symbol.
Oh yeah. So go to the settings on that. No, that's fine. And then just pick a different symbol. So Apple. Perfect. And then if you want to just click OK, so you can actually drag that over top of your chart. So you rather than have it be two separate panes, you could drag it right on top of the chart that you have above
move
there.
It up. No, I always do this. So
just grab the actual line. Literally the line itself, the blue line. Yeah, and you can pull it up onto. Boom. There you go. Yeah. So basically, I mean, obviously this doesn't mean, one is bigger than it, but what I'm saying is like, you can start looking at the aggregate value and the aggregate percentage change versus other assets. And so if you want to do, say, like the Bitcoin or the total market cap chart, right?
That's a good, I was actually just thinking, I was like, this seems like suited for the market cap.
There you go. So, I mean, relatively speaking, right, what this is showing you is that all coins in aggregate still less than Apple. If you're thinking about kind of the global value of something like this, this is the best way that I try to, compare things. Is not, oh, it seems expensive, or, oh, it seems cheap. It's no. What's the relative value? And you got to think how many analysts out there, internet analysts, technology analysts, asset managers are, thinking that this is the fair value for Apple. And so if you can roughly estimate or work back from that, a philosophy around, well, I mean, this is what people roughly think of cryptocurrencies versus Apple, right? And you can do, infinite overlays like this. So, you can overlay 7 market cap charts if you wanted to. So if you wanted to look at Apple versus Tesla versus all these different ones. So the financial stuff is really cool. I don't think people actually pay enough attention to it, but
I certainly do not. I've never even clicked on that tab, but that's like, that maybe that lesser known feature that we were looking for today as far as something to dive into. And your point about the relative value, and that's, I think, the bull case for Bitcoin. And I think that's why, Nick and I were talking last week. He's more of our fundamental guy, and he focuses a lot on equities and gold and all that stuff you mentioned. And And that's the story, right? That's that higher time frame story. When you say, look, everyone says crypto's in a bubble and it's expensive, but it's still not even worth the same value as, you know,
one company
stock, one company.
Yeah, exactly.
And so if it's going to be a global asset class, then it's an absolute peanut. And then, you know, and then you get into the technicals and you say, well, where do I get in, when, how? And I think that's probably the biggest takeaway as far as like when people just, you know, ad nauseum, they're saying, well, this is not financial advice, not financial advice. Because financial advice, first of all, needs to be given by a certified person. But secondly, and more importantly, it needs to be given on an individual basis, right? So I need to know a lot about somebody before I could ever tell them what they should do. And you know, if I'm rich and I've got 100, 200, 300, 400, 500K income, then I can buy $10,000 worth of Bitcoin every quarter at any price, and it doesn't really affect me. And then in that case, I can be a little different with my approach versus somebody who's working a fairly standard 9 to 5, making maybe like, you know, 40 to 70K a year. They got kids, they got a house, like that's going to factor in. And so for anyone, and that's why I always get a little uncomfortable when you're on Twitter and you're I put out ideas all the time, say, this is where I'm buying this. And I'm like, fuck, man, like seriously, don't over leverage yourself, guys. Cause I hate that feeling that maybe somebody gets wrecked because, you know, they're just like following my one trade and I know, like,
not actually tracking all of them.
Yeah, like I lose
for
all
you,
the time.
but I mean, it's not the whole system. Exactly.
I lose all the time. I literally lost like 3 futures trades in a row this weekend. But you know, those 3 losses added up to a quarter of the profit I made on the one that I did before. So like it's all risk reward, it's risk management. And unfortunately, in a following sense, it just never works. So
and I mean, things that I tell people all the time too, like it's funny, but we're working a lot on kind of educating new investors now because broadly speaking, people that come to TradingView generally know what they're doing. So I don't feel so much like I have to kind of, you know, work to kind of educate these people. But I mean, we do have a ton of new investors these days. And this past year has been a great opportunity for people to kind of learn markets. But, you know, I mean, they're starting from scratch, right? So there's a lot of kind of issues with that. And, you know, we want to make sure that people don't blow themselves up straight out the gate. And the one thing that I always tell people, you know, as they're getting started is, you know, make sure that you're able to sleep at night. You should never be, you know, trading to the degree that you actually have like concerns mentally about it, you know, because I mean, even starting at $500, like it doesn't seem like a lot of money. So you're not going to make those insane gains or whatever, but at least you can go to bed and like have a great evening and not have to like think about it 24/7. I mean, there was a period of time, I think, probably, I'd say 2016 through 2018 where, I was on, you know, I was on 24 hours a day. And, you know, it's just, you know, because you just have so much on the line and you're just so leveraged that, I mean, you're obviously very, very, you know, concerned about every single move that happens. And if you slow down a little bit, you know, obviously take a little leverage on the table.
It's like terrible. Are you just look at your
half
phone
candle and you're just like, oh my God, I can't do this anymore.
I have some, I think a lot of people have some PTSD in a sense from that. I still distinctly recall the end of 2017, right? You know, things were in a bubble. It was insane. I was like 98% altcoins at the perfect time. It worked out great, but I didn't know to cut them. I didn't understand the concept of bubbles. I had actually seen a video about them, but I wasn't sure, you know, of course you see that video, which is pretty intelligent conversation. And then you go on Twitter to try to reconfirm your bias. And everyone's like, man, what loser just sold that dip? Meanwhile, that was like the dip to end the bull market. And I remember sitting down with a financial advisor who I went to see because I was like, holy shit, I don't know what to do. It wasn't like, you know, I wasn't like a million or anything, but it was more than I'd ever had. And I wanted to talk to him about it. And while I was sitting at the table with him, I looked down because I was completely in altcoins. It was like January 8th, right after the top. And I looked down and refreshed and it was like, you know, my portfolio just puked like $42,000. And I'm just like, oh, there's a year's salary. He's like, oh, did something change? I was like, no. Well, I'm like, hurry up. What do I do? So it was terrifying. And of course, he doesn't do crypto. So he didn't tell me anything too bold. Basically just said, you should spend some now. Probably want to go and invest in some shit that'll stick around. You know, it was just a wash. And I think a lot of people learned a lot of lessons that year. So to your point, I think playing within a manageable amount sounds boring, but over time and with a long enough time horizon, you've got to really focus on your own level. And a lot of people, you're seeing big P&Ls online, $60,000 profits on a single trade and all this crazy shit. But that person's probably a millionaire and or whatever. And so if you're trying to play other people's levels, you're going to end up with zero more often than not. And that's like the grossest feeling ever, because there probably is going to be an absolute FU bull market in the next couple of years. So your number one rule,
if you've already blown yourself out.
I mean, could you imagine, right? You're sitting there, it's like, I own some Bitcoin, I own some altcoins. Oh, I'm going to go slap it into futures and take a 10x long. And then you're like, oh, I'm on the sidelines. So, I mean, that's really comes back to everything we talk about here day after day after day is, manage risk, come up with a plan, play slow, buy, strategically on dips. For example, over the weekend, a lot of RLZs tagged and all that stuff. I say RLZ, it's a reload zone. It's in the fib retracement tool that you guys have. So, it's that kind of stuff. And sadly, and this is why 90% of people in the markets lose money over time, is it's just people just don't do it. You want to say like, this time I'll do that. And so the market humbles people. And I was humbled more than once and still make mistakes once in a while. But, it is what it is. And it's kind of a process. It's a journey. You got to do the long-term stuff.
Yeah. Humble yourself, but humble yourself and still stay in the game. That's the key for sure. Yeah.
And I think even when you are managing risk, Ali says, I can't sleep, LOL. I also struggle with that to an extent. I'm looking at charts all the time. I've managed risk, to an extent. I'm exposed right now. And we are in, like you said, this shaky area where, holy shit, we could wake up to a 20% candle. But I've moved the bar up, so like,
right.
Say the
Your
start of the year
is still enough where,
or I'm playing on sort of some gains from earlier in the year or whatever. But I get it, and even then, will I be wrecked if it goes down 50%? Like, I'll be okay. Like, I'll survive physically. My needs are met, but I still lose some sleep over that thought, even though I expect in a month for 2 months after that it'll be fine, anyways. But it is a scary place. It can be. So I guess with that, I would revert back to a really hot plug on TradingView Premium, which is that you get 400 alerts. And that was actually what pushed me from Pro Plus a couple years ago, because I set my
alerts.
I set 10th alert, and then it was like, for an 11th alert, you need Premium. And I thought, well, that's peace of mind. And I use them. I've got them all over the place. And so when there's a big move, I get like 20 alerts, and I'm like, oh yes. And then I run back to my computer or whatever, and I can kind of enjoy, like, it's about finding that balance, like you said, so that we can enjoy our lives while being traders. And having shit pop up on my phone for me is a lifesaver.
No, I mean, it's funny, but those people that kind of go half into TradingView, I mean, it's tough because you really can't get the extent of features that do really differentiate what the product does. So I'm glad that you've gone as deep as you have, just because you're getting kind of the full spectrum of what we can actually do on the platform. And people say like, oh, okay, it has nice charts, but actually what it is it is a risk management system. And broadly speaking, as you can see now, I mean, we have global fundamentals data, we have every indicator you could possibly want. I mean, we have data from not just 15 or so crypto exchanges, but 50 plus equities exchanges, all the FX exchange. And so the aggregation of that, again, combined with things like alerts and real-time notifications and stop loss and limits. I mean, it's supposed to make your life easier. You just got to really kind of work to build it. And it takes a lot of time to build out that full system, for sure.
Yeah, it does actually. Even in my first year, I get to a point now where I've got all my templates saved and all this stuff. And I think some people watch and they say, how do you set that up? And I forget. I'm like, oh yeah, like everyone's working with out of the box. And so like going back to that time horizon thing, commit to a 5-year plan, commit to growing a little bit each day. And with that comes, diving into all those different tools you guys have. Cause like you said, you guys are just the toolkit. You have everything someone might need. And I guess the gap then is education. So people getting in there and saying like, how do I use this? What do I do with it? Because a MACD is absolutely meaningless unless you understand what it's trying to tell you, along with every other tool, right? So we're doing a bit of that here on Hero Labs each day, trying to help people out. And part of what we love about streaming right on your spot is that people are sitting there with the tools in front of them, and they say, what are the settings here? And I can pull them up and share them and all that stuff. Any plans to bring on-chain analytics to TradingView? We'll do 1 or 2 questions before we wrap, and we're going to do our giveaway announcement. So stay tuned for that, guys. APOC Nick is wondering about on-chain analytics.
Yeah. Well, I'd be curious what he's looking at specifically. I mean, things like transaction
Yeah,
data.
number of
Yeah.
transactions, wallets. I think there's already some kind of aggregator platforms for that. So I guess it might even
Hmm.
be as easy as sort of white gloving what
Pulling it in
they're
from somebody
doing.
else. Yeah.
Yeah, and
No,
it,
I mean
like
we have a lot. So I'm thinking of coin metrics. There's a couple key guys. I know Into the Block does it as well. Jesus is a great
Glassnode.
day. Yeah. Last note. I mean,
Yeah.
there's a bunch of different cuts of that. I guess we haven't really settled on who is the clear winner. The problem is when we pull in a new data set, we want to make sure that we have for the long term. And actually, those that do know TradingView will know that the first crypto data set they pulled in was actually Mt. Gox back in 2014. And
Rough start.
yeah, rough start. And so we try to build for things that'll be around for a long time. And there's a ton of these on-chain companies, but if they, I mean, if this guy or folks really know a single firm that they think are kind of a standout in the space, we definitely consider it. I've been looking at it myself a lot. We did actually just add a lot of new data from Uniswap. They have like all of the different alts and kind of the DeFi projects. But yeah, in terms of going to that next level of depth, which would be the number of transactions, the size of transaction blocks, and stuff like that. I think we're still kind of scratching our head as to who's the clear standout that'll be kind of the definitive player in the space, because we have to think about kind of long term.
For sure, yeah.
And,
well, and
I
ideally,
think
you find something longer term, you can get a better deal too, and those like
yeah, true,
10-year relationship, whatever it is.
Yeah, good point.
But that's a really interesting question, APOC Nick, and it's actually something I'd love to see too. Obviously, if we're living in TradingView for all of our trading needs, the more we can get in from that directly, the better. As it is now, I have like a news aggregator on my one screen, and I have this over here, and you guys already have chat features embedded in there, so there's most of it's there. And I think with that FA tab you had there, got me thinking that as well. And the last thing, I think there was one. Oh yeah, so that was actually the other question too. Is Need for Beats also wanting to know about data like that, wallets, net profits, etc. So maybe this is a call then for anyone watching to, think about that question. And if you have ideas of who you think is a really good data aggregator for crypto, hit up that support. Hit up Jasper.
Yeah. Hit up me if you need to. I'll just complain to Jasper at some point in time. But Jasper's the godfather of product in terms of things that get in the door. Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, that's great. Now we are doing a giveaway today. Sheplik says, okay, one note. What's the random task wants to use more but hasn't had time to fully explore? Okay, so Sheplik over on TradingView is asking, what's the one tool that I want to use more but I haven't had time to fully explore? GAN. And that's less of a tool and more of like a theoretical framework. I'm fascinated by GAN. I use the GAN Square and the GAN Fan, but he's got a lot of other stuff. And, that's, the Square of 9. I don't know. I have some, So I took, there's a book on it that BTC Jack Sparrow, buddy of mine, he showed me this book. It's like this thick and it's like just, it's probably the driest thing in the world. But anyways, so yeah, Sheplik.
Yeah. GANs, fractals, all that stuff. Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean,
yeah. And there's fib circles too.
I mean, you could do moon cycles.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, because there's a whole rabbit hole with GAN, right? Like I like the Square and the Fan. They're quick. You put them on the chart, blah, blah, blah. But then he gets into this stuff where by the time he's pinpointed a price and a time, it's like to the 8th of a cent, 6 months out to the day. And if you read that GAN Wyckoff interview, I guess if anyone watching, you want to Google it, just Wyckoff interviews WD GAN. And it's from like the early 1900s. It's like a 10-minute read. Highly recommend that read, by the way. But he was just, punting these price targets saying, like the price of wheat within 1/8 of a cent on this day, or my entire friggin' framework is useless. And it would go to that 1/8 of a cent on that day and then pull back. And then it would go to that 1/8 of a cent again and pull back. And then he called the top or whatever. And it was just like, and he was like witchcraft at the time. And of course he was doing that without TradingView. He just had his pencils and his protractors.
Yeah. Literally pointing figures.
Yeah. So to your question, Shep, that's probably the thing I would like to learn more about. And then the tool, I'm actually kind of fascinated by fib circles. I've never used them. I love fibs. I imagine I'd like them too, but I haven't had time to dive into that. And then there's also the question of, is it better to just simplify? Scott Melker was on here a month or so ago talking about how, he's like, I draw one line, I've got this, and that's all I need. He's like, I don't have time. And frankly, I haven't found value in using 100 different things. It's like analysis paralysis, right? So, hey, we are getting to the top of the hour, and I think it's a good time now to do our giveaway, the odds of winning, because this is based on, of course, how many people. I will. You know what? For transparency's sake, I'm going to pull it up. I was like, do I air out? Because I guess everyone can see who retweeted it anyways. It's not a secret. But I'm going to, let me just get all my tabs set up. So, big shout out to you guys for giving this away.
Sure.
This is pretty sweet. And it's a nice kind of time for it, because if you don't win, it's still probably a great time to use this Black Friday deal. Like, take it from me, guys. If you're ever going to sign up for TradingView, do it this week, because it's what I did. So that's good enough. But no, it's the best time to do it. So here we go. I'm going to flip over. I actually don't think I can do what I was planning. So I'll just show people separately.
You're doing like a random number calculator or something, right?
Yeah. Wait. Oh, okay. No, screen 5. Oh God. Okay, here we go. So maybe this will work.
Huh. There you go.
Yeah, so I've got it set up. Basically, everyone who retweeted with a chart, that was the key differentiator. I think, unfortunately, there was a few people who just retweeted it quickly without any charts. So I really want to reward people who actually listened.
Put in the work.
Yeah, like looked at the thing. It was a pretty simple giveaway, let's be honest. So because row 1 is just the titles here, we're going to give it a 2 to 26. All right, this doesn't count. I'm going to click generate, and the number that spits out will be our winner. And that's as simple as it's going to be. So here we go. Drum roll, please, producer.
Oh, yeah. Huge drum roll.
4. Number 4. That is the Conqueror, at @the_Conqueror. And if I'm quick enough, perhaps I could even go. No, I lost it. I was on Twitter earlier looking at it. I was going to say we could actually show the chart that they tweeted out, but ooh, never mind. I think I found it. But that's great. So the Conqueror is going to be getting 1 year free. Oh, here it is. Okay. Let's pull that up here. XLM tends to follow XRP. William the Conqueror, you just won 1 year TradingView premium subscription, and this is your chart. So that's actually, I love that chart, because Ripple is taking the world by storm this week.
Wow. Yeah.
And basically, XLM, I agree. I think XLM is probably going to follow. So that's pretty cool. So let's flip back over to Studio real quick. And as a follow-up to that, what's the process here? So we'll just reach out to you in DMs, and then we'll reach out to them in DMs, and I guess you guys can fix it up.
Yeah, I think we got the DM, or we got his handle. So I'm pretty sure the TradingView account will DM him shortly. I have somebody working on that, and then yeah, we'll take it from there. But congrats, the Conqueror, and obviously, yeah, for all those who are interested. I mean, like I said, 60% off for Black Friday as well. So either way, good deal.
Yeah, no, I think the timing of this was good, because anyone, like I said, anyone who didn't win, it's just like, well, yeah, but you still kind of get, everybody gets 40% this week, so, or 60%, sorry. So, yeah, pretty sweet. And is there anything else you want to kind of leave us with today, or put you on the spot? Like, we didn't really get too deep into your bag. We got kind of sidetracked. You got some Ethereum, you got some Bitcoin. What's an altcoin that you have? And I mean, this is not financial advice. Nobody's going to run and ruin your bag, but like, just out of curiosity, what are some altcoins you got as we wrap up today?
Yeah, some edge cases that I'm probably looking at. I mean, I'm trying to think just offhand. Algorand is probably one that's still top of mind for me. I actually haven't looked at it in a long time, but Boston-based firm, I know them well, and so basically investing in the team. In terms of that chart, I mean, God, I couldn't even tell you. It might be really bad, so you might embarrass me. But yeah, we're
gonna pull it up now. I mean, I have been watching Algorand myself. Really? Yeah, good. I've been watching it. It's hit new lows against Bitcoin, so it's been on my less on my short list. Yeah. However, it's breaking out today as our most. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Okay, not a bad trade actually, at least for the last few days. But yeah, on a relative basis, right? If you look at the BTC chart, then wow, that's rough.
Yeah, the BTC chart. I mean, and we're actually about to get into that after the interview. We're gonna dive into sort of how I scan for these things.
There you go.
But algo, I agree. So I think algo is pretty strong. I don't have a bag of it yet, but it's gonna have to regain a level or so.
Yeah,
I'd like
confidence booster.
Yeah. Any others last minute you'd like to mention that we can, and we'll actually pull them up after anyhow.
Yeah. No, I'll leave it to you. I think you're the best for this. So.
Perfect. Well, sounds good, Pierce. And really appreciate you coming on, joining us on the stream and talking charts and sharing that. And I think TLDR, for anyone who just tuned in, there is a financials button top left on the screen. That was probably my biggest takeaway as far as features on
anchored VWAP too. We got to go over that at some point as well. It's a new
anchored VWAP. Okay, well, that's a nice little let's say preview for the next time. I'm gonna shoot you a DM one day and try to get you back on here. I think maybe like in a 10-week time frame, kick off the new year. We can talk a little bit about what you guys are doing since between now and then, and we'll talk.
Yeah.
What was that one? Anchored
VWAP.
VWAP. Okay, anchored VWAP is on next time I get you on here. So appreciate that.
Yep.
And all right, excellent. Well, let's wrap there. And I'm going to be on, guys. So I'm staying on to do a full Binance Pierce scan. So don't go anywhere. But here is where we say goodbye to Pierce. Thank you so much for coming on today.
See you, man. Good to talk to you.
Yeah. Take care. We'll catch up soon.
All right.
Cheers. And we're zooming in on Pierce. Say goodbye. Thanks for the producer. All right, so let's flip back to singles. There we go. All right, guys. So that was our interview with Pierce Crosby from TradingView, and a big shout out to the Conqueror on Twitter. I will reach out to you in DMs, as will TradingView, and we will follow up with you to make sure you get your 1 year of TradingView Premium. Now, I said on Twitter before this that I was going to do a full Binance altcoin scan, and I want to, and I'm going to. But what I realized is sometimes this can take 35, 45 minutes to an hour. So what I'm going to do is actually put us on pause for 1 minute because I need to go to the bathroom. So we're going to be off for about a 45-second, 1 minute interlude here, and then I'm going to come back and just fire up the charts, guys. We're going to go ham. And basically what we're going to end with is a short list of all the very best looking altcoins that we can then look forward to over the next, hopefully months, definitely weeks, I think, given what ETH BTC looks like. So if the producer would just take us off studio for about 30 seconds, and I'll be right back. All right, let's do this live is what I was thinking this morning, because I don't know about you guys, but I get like FOMO still, even though I tell myself not to. I preach it, I teach it. And then Saturday morning, I wake up and every single altcoin just broke out of that first leg consolidation. So in this case, what I want to tell you all first, relax. The market's not going anywhere. And if you don't approach the market with sort of a preset plan, hunting setups, you're probably going to end up with less money in the end than more. So let's start off with a deep breath because we are about to dive deep into a long list of altcoins, and I'm going to fly through the first layer scan. The second layer will take a little longer, and the third layer is where the sweet shit is. So roll with me, and let's just flip right over to the screen share because that's what it's all about. Now, what is that? Algo? Yeah. So we got Algo up here on the screen. All right. So yeah, I mean, the Pierce is speaking to Algo on a high time frame. Sure, it looks great. Like it's probably gonna be fine. The reason it's not gonna make my short list today is because it broke the lows here. Does it mean it can't go up? Nope. But it means I bet there's better options as far as, again, this next little cycle. Because keep in mind, this is a downtrend. It has not reversed yet, right? So even though these pops are here and playing on futures, you can get a nice bounce. And I do think we are in for continued sizable bounces, which is a trade in and of itself. Am I ready to load up the truck for the next year? No, not quite. I don't have that signal yet. But just for what it's worth, it's already on the chart. So what I'm going to do, yeah, I FOMO, therefore I am. Exactly. Yeah, no, I mean, look, guys, I am human. I exist as everyone does, and I definitely felt a great deal of FOMO this weekend, and I even tried to take a trade that wasn't exactly in my trading plan, and it got stopped out. So that's the kind of shit you got to eat to keep relearning certain lessons. Aeon USD. Okay, so look, we're gonna do that one. We always talk about Aeon. It's because I'm an Aeon bro, and we have guys in the chat that love it, and that's great. Love having you guys here. So let's take a look at this one. Yeah. Aeon would pass the sniff test, and that's pretty much because the first thing I need is for high time frame reload zone, and that's exactly where Aeon is. So versus USD, it did not make new lows. If you're trading against USD entirely, this is good. Now, obviously, it got smacked back down today after its little breakout, but there's some volume creeping in. It's parked in the reload zone versus USD. This is doing really well. We're going to actually be doing our scan versus Bitcoin, in which case, as you can see, Aeon will not make the cut. So you have to ask yourself, which kind of trader do I want to be? Now, because I'm bullish on Bitcoin, because I expect the next year or two to be incredibly bullish for Bitcoin, I only want to be long on assets that are beating Bitcoin. That's an important distinction. I think most altcoins that are, worth anything, that have teams working, that are building products, that have speculative value, I think they're all going to do pretty well versus USD. It's probably going to be a massive bubble in the next year or two that we can get super stinky rich off. However, like I said, I'm mostly interested in the ones that are going to outperform Bitcoin in a time period. So starting off like this, and that is why we look at this chart, because this is Bitcoin's dominance. When it's going down, other altcoins are gaining compared to Bitcoin. In this case, Ethereum certainly driving the bus. As you can see, as it shoots up, it moves the market cap the most, the dominance. And so we're seeing the inverse on here. Other, Ripple, another big mover, definitely having an impact on this, as well as a number of other altcoins trickling up little bits. They all add up. Okay. So I only really speculate with my Bitcoin aggressively when this is trending down, which it might just about be ready to start. So it's really exciting. And that's why we call it the risk on window. Does that mean I'm not trading altcoins during this risk off? Nope. But I'm just doing it quietly with small percent risks and definitely not, loading up to 90% exposure to altcoins. Because when you sit 90% exposure to altcoins, you get wrecked during this window, which a lot of people did, unfortunately. Now, look, wrecked is a relative term because, did you get wrecked in the sense that you're liquidated and you're just out of the market? Or did, your bag just went down, presumably midterm, short term, whatever. Right. So keep that in mind. When I say wrecked, it just means like they took a lot of hits. And you can see that on things like ENJ. But not on that one. Where is it? Oh, well, you can see that on things like Aeon, right? So even just from people that were getting excited back up here around resistance and potentially longing it, looking for the breakout, well, they're down 71% if they held it, right? So I want to avoid that versus Bitcoin. I bet versus USD, Aeon stayed relatively flat, but look at that missed gain, right? Bitcoin was shooting up and these things. So anyways, long enough explanation of that. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to use this flagging system, right? So they have these colored flags, red list, blue list, purple list. We're going to use this list to shortlist the altcoins that I think, based on my TA, are going to do really well, have a chance to outperform the rest. Now, you could get really complicated and take that final list. So there's going to be 3. There's going to be the red, then the orange, then the green. I could take that green list and then cross-reference it with upcoming events, like a mainnet launch, look at their roadmaps, who's got big news, maybe some brewing partnerships, some announcements of announcements. And then I could even shortlist it again and go maybe to like a purple list and have my purple list with the green list items that actually have things and reasons coming up. So there could be potential for a 4th. But for today, we're going to fly through. And for that, I'm going to actually do this. Watch this. So I'm going to go to the template. Got my fancy Hxro colored template. I'm going to copy. I'm going to say Binance BTC pair short list. Okay. The other template I was on has just tons of ink all over it. I don't want to mess with that. So, all right. So you guys ready? First thing you need for this is the Binance list. Now, as I go down this, I realize I haven't updated it in probably a couple of weeks. So there's definitely a few on here or missing, like Poe, and that got delisted. There's definitely going to be a few that aren't even on here. So I can tell you one right now that I remember offhand, AXS. So like that, I need to add to the list. If you guys can think of any that were recently listed and you just want to shout them out right now, that'll really help with this. Yes, the Conqueror on Twitter. Thank you, TradingView, for finding him. And we'll tweet that out a little later too when I'm done the stream. Obviously can't do it this minute. Let everyone know that he's the winner. Now, here we go. I'm going to start at the daily. And this is a location scan. So I am scanning for basically any altcoin, because most altcoins had somewhat of a bubble, not even a bubble, but like, I don't even think this is a bubble. It was just really like a sick rally. Most altcoins had that rally and some didn't, right? So if during all this, your altcoin didn't go up, and then during all this downside, it actually made new lows, it's shit. Sorry. As far as trading and making money goes, it's not very bullish. I want the ones who were super bullish this summer and have yet to make new lows since and are simply parked in the reload zone. ADA, definitely one of them, going red. And without even looking, I can usually just tell which ones are going to make the red list. This one will definitely make the red list. Red list is going to be big. Lots. Now look, clear difference, right? I actually like AE. There was a time when I did some FA on this thing. I thought, man, it looks strong. But do you see the difference? It's making new lows. It barely caught a bid this summer. So for whatever reason, the supply is outweighing the demand. There's no real evidence of big buys coming in. There was some here, didn't go far. So is that going to make the red list? Hell no. AGI, definitely parked in the reload zone. We'll stick it on the red list. Aeon, sorry, love you, new lows, not happening. Algo, love you, new lows, not happening. Ambrosis, now here's a tricky one because it has made new lows, closed back inside. Is it in a reload zone? Oh, is my bias going to come in here? Because I actually just think this thing is super undervalued. I'm going to include this one. Why? Because it's like 1 million market cap and they actually have nodes running. And from what I remember, they actually have some pretty decent shit. I don't know. Sorry, guys. I'm going to cheat. I'm including it. It didn't quite make entirely new lows. This one, nope. All right, so this is basically what I do. So I'm going to speed it up here, so a little bit less explanation. You guys will probably be able to see as I do it why I'm not going to include it. Barely. Oh, that's not it. Okay, get off my red list. Remove. Sorry. So ARC is the one. AirSwap. Yep. In the reload zone. Yep. Atom. BAT actually just broke out today, but again, it's underperforming Bitcoin. So it's not like when I don't put it on the list, it's not saying it can't do well. I'm sure BAT's going to do well. I'm very sure of that to some extent. But this is about finding the best short and midterm opportunities based on what's on the chart. So what's more bullish, the one that just made new lows or the one that just had huge rally and then is parked in a reload zone showing signs of divergence in market structure, blah, blah, blah. Blue Zell, I should just stop and pause and let you guys know this is actually one I'm long on right now. In fact, my futures long just hit during the stream. So let's pause and just take the very quick look at that. The scan's going to take hours, but that's okay because this is a pivotal moment in the market and I want to spend the time. So yeah, this little 382 actually just filled my futures bid. And yeah, I front ran it a little and that's good because the price did too. But that's the idea. So long on this one. And if you're wondering why, well, you can see had a really good summer, absolutely ripped during that huge rally, broke down, and now has double tapped sport, which is also the GAN 8-1, and broke out. So I was buying this versus Bitcoin last week. Pretty sure I put that on my Twitter. And then for today, it had a nice pullback and tagged its 382 here, as you can see. So that's the pump chaser zone, and I'm chasing the pump. So I added here on the futures. So we'll see. All right, let's go back to business because I really do want to kick out the green list. It takes a while. The second layer takes a while. So yes. Actually, I can already tell this is going to be on the green list because I've done the scan for that one. But I'm going to cheat code that one to the front of the line. Binance coin actually looks like shit versus Bitcoin. Just lost this big level and it's kind of retesting it. So we'll see what that is. But that's on my purple list because I own some. Yep. Don't know why it's so tiny, but it's definitely in the reload zone. Nope. No. See? Keep that in mind. Bitcoin is not in the reload zone. So I'm using it at this point, like buying, like this is the trade, guys. All these shit coins down against Bitcoin and they're sitting in these like sweet buy levels. And then you've got Bitcoin up against everything, sitting up at these ridiculously high sort of, if anything, like fib extension levels. And that's the trade, right? That's why this is the moment where I'm searching to sell this to buy this, right? That's trading for you, baby. Yeah, I can tweet that out, guys. Sorry, I'm not looking at the chat. Let's check it out. Always looking at thinking of PNT USDT. Looks great. Please chart orange, yellow, green colors. Yeah, yellow, orange, red, and green. That's kind of the idea. Red being wait, orange being maybe, and then green being go. Nice Aeon analysis. Hope to Aeon BTC trend change, especially with the launch of Moves Financial. Yeah, Adam Khalil. If you know when that launch of Moves Financial is, please post it in the chat. I'm always looking for a catalyst date. All right, I'm going to go silent mode as I scan quickly. We're only at the B's, and we've got 3 rounds to go, so let's fly. Barely. Nope. Barely. Nope. Yup. Nope. Oh, Dash. Oof. Do I have a soft spot for Dash? Just because I looked at it this morning and it just confirmed bullish market structure on the daily after a nice dip into its reload zone. Some volume. Yeah, I'm going to put it on there. I want to keep an eye on Dash. So as you can see, guys, there's anomalies. Now, this one's interesting. Tika Tawari announced this as one of his 5 coins to 5 million. And I was pissed because it was right around March when I was thinking about buying some to average in long term because I like data. And I couldn't buy it because he pumped the shit out of it. And I was so excited this week to see it came right back into my zone. So that's a gimme. I'm going to be buying that just because it's going to the green list. Because, yeah, it's just they have partnerships with HP. Like I'm bullish on data and it's finally back in his zone after I waited 8 months for that thing. I'm proud of myself. So I'm going to treat myself by buying some. And that might be some that I just buy and write off right away and put it in a hold portfolio. I may not trade it too aggressively. Just kind of want it in my bag. Don't do that often, but barely. We're going to give Dusk a pass. It was purple, but I actually didn't have it anymore. I got stopped out last week. No. I mean, ELF. Oof. See, like, again, internal weakness, right? The whole market rallied. Some are still at the reloads, and this one's making new lows. Can't do it. Sorry. Yup. Yeah, Ethereum, I guess we'll have there. Right at the lows. Why not? Yeah, I love that one. See, you guys, like, remember the midsummer, and I was on here streaming saying this is not the time to buy. Park it in the reload zone. A couple people call me stupid, calling names, but and then where are those guys now? Probably saying it's wrecked and it's never going back up. Well, we're gonna buy some of these anyways. Yep, FTM fun. Oof. It's at the lows. I mean, if they're right on the lows, like, okay, I'll give it a chance. I'd really rather a reload zone because that just means that there's enough bullishness in it that it didn't even reach the lows when everything else did. Yeah, GNT, sure. Golem, one of my 2017 gems. Lost the lows. Lost the lows. Oh, interesting. Icon. Looks like it's parked right in it. And this is like Acon's cousin. Oh, yeah. 88.6's baby. Like, think like the dream, right? When it was all up here and you're just, man, I missed it. I really hope I get a chance. Well, chances are coming in. Remember, these things could all break to new lows too. That's not out of the question. I'm just looking for good probabilities. Certainly one. See, as you go faster, KMD, sadly, I was trading it up here, but it lost lows. KNC is one to really watch because it caught the DeFi train this summer. Oh, Link didn't even really reach a reload zone because it's just been such an epic pump, but it's close. Certainly can't write off Link. Take auto off. So he'll asked if I could tweet out the list. I don't know, man. Should we keep that alpha for us? Join the stream. I might tweet out like a link to the video part of the list, but I don't know. I'm gonna work hard for this shit, or should keep it for the followers, the subs. But yeah, generally speaking, there will be some access to this list if you can't stick around. I understand. This is what we do in the lab all day, baby. I actually haven't done a scan in a while, and the reason I'm doing it is to celebrate the potential risk on window. I mean, that's kind of what I do. It's like, okay, we're going to wait. Oh, look, risk on maybe. Okay, let's go scan. Because even if you miss today's little pop or whatever, I mean, the trend that we're trying to catch here is longer term, right? I actually think it might only be a few weeks, and that's okay. Sometimes you get a 2-week trend. Sometimes you get a 6-week trend. You rarely get like massive alt windows versus Bitcoin. Bitcoin often comes back to rue the day. And Neo, we're going to give it to because their treasury is stacked with cash. They're probably going to do pretty well. OAX. Oh, you know what one I just remembered from that? OXT. Oxtail. Oxtail sauce, baby. I think that's Orchid. But they actually broke out today. Not a whole lot of chart data. So can you see how this one would be more difficult for me to add to this list? But we're going to, because, well, let's just kind of put in a little bottom. It might be breaking out. So this is one where, you could be looking at 382s, get that pump chaser zone if you think it's going to pump. And I think with the volume reversal here, looks good. I'm going to put that right into my green. So I make sure I'm looking at it on a shorter time frame. I might want to trade this week. Let's go back to the daily. Yep. OMG, I was looking at this morning. Definitely going to get the red at least. Oh, yeah. Keep it here, sir. Closed alpha. Yeah, right? Not in the AM, bro. I mean, At least let us fill our bags if we come to a conclusion of some ideas we have. Remember, nothing we come up with today, guys, is going to be a sure bet. But it's certainly going to be like, this is literally just what I do when I'm searching. Now, POA is interesting because it's kind of a full retrace. Eiffel Tower looks like shit, but now it's fucking around with its own little reload zone right here. So yeah, again, when you have a huge trend move like this, it goes the other way too. So, keep that in mind. It's like the pump chaser, well, the dump chaser. So the rally I think we might have as far as quote unquote alt season goes, I don't know if we're in position for the big one yet, but I could totally see something like this happening over the next, few weeks. Although that goes all the way to February, so it would actually be a lot quicker. But who knows? Who knows exactly what's coming? But that's just my 2 cents. I don't know if this is generational bottom. Okay, I'll give it the pass. We're in the P's. We're getting close. Yeah, Pauly. Sure. Power, pretty strong project, best I can remember. Easy, Dave Millett. Is that a token? I think I've seen that one. It's a DeFi something or other. And that's the other thing, guys. This is only covering Binance coins, right? There's liquidity there is pretty good. I don't even know how I would do a scan of Uniswap. I'd probably just rely on an outstanding human aggregator like Crypto Messiah, for example, in-house analyst, trader, shitcoin whisperer, does a ton of good research, and it's actually a lot of the times it's the guys on stream that are giving requests and then they dive in together. I love that. Ooh, did I just skip over Cork Chain? Ugh, it's right at the lows. It's gross, but I guess I'll give it one. If it's doing some divergences, maybe it'll pass. That's definitely QuantStamp, yeah. God, the world could use QuantStamp now. Smart contract auditing. Watched a cool video yesterday about what's it called? The flash loan hacks and stuff. Very good. I'll tweet it out later from my personal account. Oh, Ren. Good old Ren. Still don't have a bag. But I don't think it's done unwinding just yet. If it is, it's right in that reload zone. Definitely a strong. Now, see, look how strong this is compared to so many, right? That's why that's the ones I want to look at. In fact, Ren is going straight to my green list because I'm getting some at some point. Barely. Barely. Not bad. Oh, yeah. Good call. Get those watermarks on here. Raven coin, again, inflation, POW, apparently hasn't hit its supply demand switch yet. It might be. But look at that. That's terrible. Can't put RVN on here. Not yet. Again, just versus BTC. These things could maybe have great charts versus USD, which is often what I trade against. But for now, I'm just hunting for alt season shit, which is versus BTC. Storage for sure. Syscoin, yup. I'm actually long on Syscoin from one of these dips. I think actually not even a great one, like just the 400 level here. So we'll see. Well, we're having some hiccups over on the TradingView stream. Let's see if that clears up. I can always tell because I'm muted on it right now, so I don't hear myself on the delay. But well, if it resets or something, the mute goes off. So I start talking to myself. Tron. Ugh. Remember this summer when Tron announced they were going to be DeFi and that hyped it? Easiest short in the world. And yeah, right at resistance. Okay, enough about Tron. I mean, I don't even like Tron, but we'll put it in there because yeah, vet, yeah, by but barely. See, now I'm getting liberal with it. It's like they're at the lows. Let's just fucking focus on the reload zone. Come on, RT. Stop giving these guys free rides to the red list. Wabi, only because I love the fundamentals. I want to see it do well. Kind of lost the lows. Oh God, no, can't. Nope. Sorry, Wabi. Some of these are just unfortunately so ugly. One. So you guys will see some of my biases sneaking in. Waves has been absolutely ripping versus Bitcoin. What a friggin' show. Actually, let's see what that USD chart must look like then, because Bitcoin's been going up too. Yep, even higher. So cool. Shout out to anyone who traded that. I did not, but it's the way she goes, bud. A few of my buddies were in it. Very nice. So like waves doesn't make the list. Why? It's not because it's not bullish. It's very bullish, but is the move gone for now? Yeah. We're going to be looking for ones that are at this stage, not this one. New lows, new lows. Zem. Can't believe they're still alive. I thought they were almost bankrupt a year ago. XLM. I mean, for no other reason than it just made new lows, but it should catch an echo with XRP. XMR. You can call a short on that like 3 weeks ago. Damn. Fine. XRP, no. Can't get it. It's too far gone already for this kind of a scan. Yeah, a lot of these shitters down here now. ZIL, much better. Probably in the higher levels of the RLZ. Yep, sweet spot. Let's do it. Internal bullish signal. I think I am going to end up cutting the ones that were like right at their lows. It's just too many coins. The whole point of this is to get the best. So letting those guys in just doesn't make sense. Yeah, OX is above 88.6. And AXS just doesn't have enough chart data. So won't include that. All right. So now I go to the red list. Scan one complete. So here's where it gets or can get tricky. I need the MACD on here. Get rid of the others for now, because I'm just concerned with momentum. I want to see price has arrived where I want it, but has shown a slow in momentum. In other words, bullish MACD divergence. So that not only is it getting to the right place, but it's slowing down as it arrives there. So you can see, and I'll only illustrate this on a couple because I want to go quickly for the sake of getting to that green list where we can actually get some juice. But you see that? That's the MACD divergence. It's actually confirmed on this pump. So, and then with this breakout, we even have arguably what we're looking for on the green list. So what I would say then is we're setting up to buy, the dips. Maybe Bitcoin has a blow off top and these all shit out. Some will make new lows, but some will dive right into a buy zone. And those are the ones we want to be set up for. So this is going right to the green list. Right now, what I'm really looking for is a push to an orange list. So this thing flew down into its reload zone. There was some signs of bullish divergence when it got there, and now it's just consolidating. I can go orange. What gets to go to the orange? Yep, AGI slid into the reload zone. Make this a little bigger for everyone. And you can see the momentum slowed right down as it arrived down here. And without even looking, you guys will start to recognize that that is a reload zone. Nice. Yeah, no, I'm going to get rid of my bias. This is it's just too weak. I'm sure it's going to have a moment. It could do really well, but I want the best. So I'm going to stop giving myself all these like, oh, fine, we'll just include it even though it's at the lows. 88.6. Did it arrive on bullish divergence? Yep. Bullish divergence? Yep. And honestly, most of the ones that are in the RLZ now probably do have some bull divs. Atom has a subtle one here. Low, lower low, even though the MACD flipped bullish. BNT. Kind of. I mean, on this last slide down, it was sliding up. We'll call that a yes. I don't know why, but this one caught a DeFi bid this summer too. Voyager, not really. I think we can skip this one. Just leave it. And that's the thing. We'll just leave it on the red list. It's not like it's dead. So a week or two later, I might scan the red list and see, it's like a short-ish list, but not quite short. You can tell Pierce was shilling. The shilling worked to me. Bought a TradingView sub after 3 years of staring at charts for free. Dude, APOC Nick, great idea. Honestly, I mean, it's the easiest thing to sell. Like I shill it all the time because it's actually valuable to me. And it's worth every penny, 72 cents a day. Like to then have access to the best chance to make money with all the money you're risking. I mean, it's a no-brainer, I think. So APOC Nick, shout out to you. Thanks, Sohail. I appreciate that. You appear to be a semi-decent human being as well. Matt, thank you. Appreciate you being here to join in this scan. So, yeah, I mean, seller looks pretty good actually down here. It's below the 88.6. I know that because I'm trying to get on my other template, but if it can break back in here, that would give us a pretty sweet, breakout. No, what's next? Drop a new RLZ. Bitcoin does some shit, maybe dumps, maybe pumps. That's going to be the shakeout. That's going to be the dip to buy. So that's why I say, like, don't FOMO today. Like, trade your plan if you got one. But don't worry about this initial. To me, today is like this pump we're seeing in alts right now is either a fake out or a coming out party. The announcement that it's coming. And you don't want to rush to buy that announcement. You want to buy the first major shit the bed moment where everyone freaks out and goes, it was fake. You buy that. And this is true for every chart we're going to look at today. And then you're close to your risk reward. You don't have to risk as much. You can take more size. And you don't have to spend your first week in your brand new alt position underwater. That's the idea. You want to be underwater when you buy it, so to speak, so that you're instantly in profit. So at least this is the plan. So let's see if it works. So I'm going to give, we got the bullish divergence on seller. Orange. Yep. Orange. So this is the list that takes a little bit longer. We can have a little more fun on the green list. That's where the juice is. Civic. Yeah, no, it just pumped and it's not really settled yet. I'd actually have to zoom in on this one to find out because it's a smaller time frame. But look at that. Yeah, I think it's going to pass because it slid into the RLZ. It's right at the sweet spot. Bullish divergence. Actually, really like the look of that one, especially because you just know it's moving, right? It already broke out. So this pullback is probably a pretty sick level to be just looking for that second leg. And on that second leg, you can be exploring things like fib extensions. So suddenly, just a quick and dirty buy here, risk to that local low, stretch it to the extension. Like, just a cool 16-1. Fuck it, take it right to the lows. You're still 4-1, but you're risking 69%. Probably don't do that. So yeah, Civic's going to make it. Okay, I have to actually turn my chair. I've been looking hard to the left for like 40 minutes and I'm starting to get like the spins or something. What are you drunk? Let's go back to the daily. Okay, I'm going to speed up. Too chatty on the level 2 scan here. Got to get to the level 3. Oh yeah, dash. Skipped dash. You know what? No, made new lows. We can do better. Not looking to marry anything here. Dusk really kind of hit the lows too. So fuck it. I gotta be a man of my word. If you're at the lows, we don't want you. God, okay. Breaking my rule. I don't know why I have a big crush on Dusk. It's not even that high volume, but ENJ. Divergences. I'm keep an eye on it. ETH, meh. Not really looking to trade ETH in this. We want the shittier coins. No. FET. Oh, it's just like Seller. Go figure. Both Binance IEOs. bullish divergences across the board. We're going to give this one a pass, even though it's below the 88.6. Just Phantom, I was actually messing around with on the weekend. Played it a little too tight, got stopped out because I FOMO'd. Let this be a lesson. Happens to the best of us. I think it's moving today too on this breakout. Womp womp. Definitely going to have to put that on the list. At the lows, get out of here. Get that garbage out of here. Now, this one is really nice, and I'll tell you why. It's still not even at the 886 or below. It's at the 786. This move down, lower momentum, some bullish divergence, and it's starting to put in some market structure. Yep. Let's go here. Yeah, I mean, there's some bullish divergence. Wow. This thing might be green listed. I'll tell you why. Is it in the RLZ? Yes. Was there bullish divergence when it arrived? Yes. And it actually just printed. Well, today it could print bullish market structure. There's still 3 hours to the close, but if it closes above here, this one is a green list winner. Right? That's the green list, right? So this is orange. If it closes here, that's green. I'm going to forward it to green now to make sure I see it. And KNC, and that would make sense. Kyber network, swaps, DeFi, whop whop. Yeah, I mean, Link's cool, but I'm not gonna put it on this scan. But it's starting to arrive at its RLZ, and there's bullish divergence. Give it an orange. I look at the orange list more than the red. After today, I probably won't look at the red very often. So I want anything I want to be at least on the orange. The red is just a messy list. And if it's not on any of these lists, like new lows and shit, just going to ignore it. There's too much noise in the world. We got to cut the noise. Did price make a new low here? Yep. MACD? No. So potential divergence there. Moving in. Oh, this is interesting. Look at this volume. That's significant volume, day after day after day. And it's now pulled back most of that right into the reload zone. And not really divergence on the daily, but it's a pretty short time frame move. So let's check the 12-hour. Not really there either. Here we go into the 4-hour. Look for confirmation bias. Uh-oh. Don't really see it here either. Bottom line is this last move down came with some velocity. Okay. Yeah, arguably there is some sense of it here with a little bit of a last move down as the MACD was flipping. So for this, I would actually probably go back and get my RSI. So just in case anyone watching is like, well, how do you differentiate if it's subtle? So I'd like to see what the RSI did on that move. So let's do it. So price made its final low and the RSI had already reversed. Did you guys see that? So that is another subtle hint. See, RSI was already turning back up as price came back down. So that is bullish divergence. And this thing is actually looking more ripe than most because we're not waiting on the volume. There's evidence that buyers are interested here. They let it fall in. It could consolidate here for a bit, but I love that level. Go straight to Nareñas. Espanol. It's weaker, but it's Neo. Let's give it an orange. Bullish divergence. Nope. At the lows. Get rid of that. OMG looks really good as far as location goes. Just came in, right? There's other analysis we could do. It's quick scan, so I'm doing this, but like, Yeah, right off this level. Bounced, volume picking up, bullish divergence sliding in. Do you see once you get all this stuff, guys, how it's like that's where you can, it's not random. It's not go picking random coins. They might all do well eventually, but let's get the ones that are moving, and they're moving now, and they're moving from the lows we can risk against. OMG is going straight to the green. Look great. POA, right? There's a setup in here on the lower time frames. It did slow its momentum through this whole move. Like we can give it that an orange. I don't know what to make of this. There's a whole bunch of shit going on. Some divergence, not on the RSI. Poly is like a weird coin. It's friggin' wiki. It's been wiki for years. Who's trading this thing? It's whales. Messing around. I don't know. I'm gonna give it an orange. Don't know what to make of that. Nope. Oh yeah, Dia, thank you. Oh my God. And then I just realized somebody earlier listed a whole bunch of stuff. So yeah, okay, good shout, guys. I asked you to name names and then I wasn't paying attention. So here we go. We're gonna add Dia. It just broke out yesterday. I remember that because my buddy was telling me how he longed it. And then I think was it Need for Beats that said a bunch of things? Like I think Wi-Fi is not even on there. I mean, we know that's not going to be in an RLZ, but we can at least take a look. I don't think MTA exists on Binance. Nope. I mean, for the hell of it, let's look at it on Huobi. Can always trade there. I'll do one Huobi coin. XRP, DIA. Yeah. So if you guys think of any other that's Artsender you're using, it looks like, yeah. Okay. Lil MC or Lige MC just asked me something, something I wanted to talk about briefly anyways. So somebody shared this with me like a year ago, and I absolutely love it. It's an overlay on your RSI. So here's a normal RSI. Okay. And then you take a Bollinger Band. I didn't even know you could do this when I first found out, but you basically just take Bollinger Bands. Okay. And when you first lay them out of the box, they look like this and they come up on your chart. But you can apply them to different things. You can take, on the spot, how do I do this? Basically, you can move them down. So existing pane below. So look, so you see that? So I can actually move the Bollinger Band on top of the MACD. In this case, I moved it on top of my RSI. And what that does is I then go into it, style. I get rid of the upper and the lower. I don't want those. That's not what it's for. I'm using the basis or the signal line. In this case, the middle line of the Bollinger Band. I believe it's a 20 SMA. And then for inputs, I just found this out actually last week. I can actually source it to the RSI so that when I stretch it and move it, it sticks to it. So it's basically a midline. And what that does is it can give you really strong signals. Like when the RSI crosses over the midline, blah, blah, blah. So that's what that is. Works great for us. Still in beta. Enhancements are coming. Okay, excellent. We're going to refresh the TradingView stream real quick. Don't worry, John. You don't have to do anything. I'm just reading what Stefan said. Excellent. Yeah. Thank you for that, TradingView. And yeah, no, appreciate you guys are in beta, and I love what you're doing. So no worries there. Is there starting a new cycle? Oh man, TradingView chat has been pretty live. Sorry guys, I didn't look. We got G Savvy, Zed. Maybe sell out from there. Climbing more. Yeah. All right. Let's see. Yeah. Okay. Good, guys. Okay. We're going to move on with the scan here. Got a little sidetracked, and that's fine because mostly I'm just here to hang out and chat with you guys. But I know we're all here, like myself. This is actually a scan I told myself I would do on the weekend, and I got sidetracked. So I was like, I'm going to force myself to do it because if I'm doing it on stream. So you can see clear bullish divergence here. Sliding down, sliding up. Easy choice, orange. Weird. Yep. I mean, the MACD is receding. That means internally the momentum is shifting even though the price keeps going down. That's why we use these indicators. Try to gauge our internal strength. This is a high time frame move. I mean, this thing moved in September of last year. So you got to keep that in mind. It's going to take a while to bottom down here. So I almost just don't want to include it for that reason, but we'll put it in orange. No, Augur, sorry, you're at the lows. Don't care. I want this thing to move because, yeah, markets are moving. Why not get the thing that's going to move first and fastest? These are trades too, guys, right? This is not like my short list for long-term investments. This is going to be how do we catch the next few weeks maybe up here. I don't know. We'll put it in. It's close enough. Sometimes it's a for sure. Sometimes it's maybe. And also, honestly, I should be a little more stingy, right? The whole point is to get the best of the best. Why let something in if it's not smacking you in the face with value? So maybe I need to be a little more prudent in cutting things. Like that one. Same thing. Here, we get a sip of this little thing here. Yum. All right. Status. Yeah. And look, this thing already broke out. This is great. Actually, this is a green list. We're not going to get a lot of green lists today because to get green list, you have to break the midpoint and make that new structure and close it. This thing already did that. So SNT, this is the one that raised something stupid during the ICO phase. Like, what was it? Like 300 million or something? Wonder what they're up to. I guess they're well funded, but yeah, you got bullish divergence confirmed. You've got market structure confirmed. So this is a little squeeze ahead because at the green list phase, we'll be doing more of this. Look at that. So that's it. That's confirmed. Now, you can chase it, risky, or you can wait for it, prudent. And I don't care about S&T. If it takes off without me, cool. I'm not going to miss it. But I'll tell you what, when everyone's getting stopped out after chasing it, it's probably going to be filling my bids because this is how I would trade this. Risk to those lows. Stretch it so I get at least 3-1. That's my trade. So look, it's already partway there, wicked up, nice high volume. But again, Bitcoin can just fart and this thing will shit down and you'll be surprised. It might happen quickly. It might happen on Saturday next weekend. Seems to be the weekend is like the dips. So maybe we get this FOMO, don't FOMO. Bing, boom, 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 boom. So really nice look there. That's like the dream scenario. That's what I'm looking for. It actually happens more than you think. And that's what we'll be trying to find today. So we're going to put that right on the green list. It's going in. Aave SNX. Nope. Thank you. Yeah, seriously, guys. I was slacking because it was alt death season, so I wasn't keeping my my list updated, my Binance list. So thank you. I've got to go through and add these to my actual Binance short list because I have it as like a saved watch list. But I'll do that later. Uni. Put that on the red and see what it looks like. Nice tip there with the RSI. Also a couple TV that have RSI plus EMA. Yeah, I've seen that APOC. I was actually looking for a custom RSI the other day. Yeah, be picky. Only green list the most. Exactly. Yeah, need for beats. I agree. No need to feel like I have to be nice to a coin if it's not absolutely screaming buy me. Is this in the reload zone? Can I buy that? Hell no. Aave might be great. Oh, shit. It's the wrong Aave. Go to the Bitcoin pair. I was going to say. Yeah. No. I don't think so. I mean, look at that. It came in, bounced pretty strong. It's a good signal. If you're diehard about Aave, I would probably be looking at this. So you're just being patient, waiting. getting into that zone, then, and that's what, that's honestly probably what's going to happen here, or it's just going to continue from here. But I'll be interested at these levels. In fact, I think I longed Ave, or nope, I shorted it last week. Got stopped out. Fucking way she goes, bud. But I'm done trying to short alts. I'll have you guys know. That was actually the last one. I was like, what am I doing? So many good longs out there. Focus on what's happening. Yeah, so this actually, like, that's a pump. I mean, that is not like a hang out at the bottom and see how we feel. Like, that is a holy shit, I can't even believe it got this cheap. We're going to race in. That's sort of an internal bullishness. Ran out of gas here. No buyers. So could be a pump chaser zone. Really got to pick your poison. Personally, I'm not in a rush. I'm going to wait for this thing. Actually, let's see. 2889. I want to know about that, because with that kind of a pump off the low there, this thing does come back to an RLZ for me. I want it. So there's my alert. Okay, let's continue. Yeah, so not in the AM bro asked a great question. He said, how do you decide to look for an RLZ over a pump chaser fib? So if you're in a big downtrend looking for a trend reversal, I should say if I'm in a big downtrend. So like this is a downtrend, right? It's going down hard. There is no pump. So I'm not going to chase the pump. I'm not going to use the pump chaser fib. But like I said on that last one, so basically if I'm looking for a trend reversal, I will use the reload zone. If I'm looking for a trend continuation, I will look for a pump chaser zone. So if that, maybe that already makes sense, but just in case it doesn't, this is, okay, it's not going to let me stop autoing. Let's do this. There's two fibs, right? There's two settings I have. So if price is like trending down, so just say it's like trending down, makes a low, comes back up, makes a high, and then comes sliding back in here. And that's after a big long downtrend. This is how I would look for the trend reversal. Happened on Bitcoin at the end of the big bear market at 3,200, right? Gets into here. And as we just say today in the scan, we're going to find it like that. Maybe something is chilling, breaks out. That's a pump. I don't think necessarily, especially if it's a big uptrend, that I'm going to get that big reload zone. So I might take a little more risk as it just does that and then continues. So pump chaser literally is for chasing the pump. Reload zone is that. And, and I get it wrong sometimes. Sometimes I do a pump chaser and it pulls right into that reload zone, chills, and then takes off. It's not a perfect science. Typically, the pump chaser fib is best reserved when there's like just absolute FOMO in the market, which we're not at right now, which is why we're using the reload zone. So like here, pump chaser fibs were killing it. Up here, initially, you could probably catch reload zones. So this initial breakout, the big bounce up to here, probably going to get, well, maybe going to get like here. See, bounced up. Risk on. In the early stages of a risk on window, you can get usually, because there's a lot of fear still, right? People are not convinced right now that all coins are going to be bullish. So these initial breakouts are probably going to get mostly retraced. Sad but true. So there's your reload zone. But later on in the trend, people are going to be so full of FOMO. It's like, you're an idiot if you're holding Bitcoin. All coins are the future. Rah, rah, rah. Dominance is tanking. It's like falling off a cliff. You're not going to get a reload zone at that point. You're going to need the pump chaser zone. You're going to need to get in much more aggressively. So I hope that helps. Not in the AM, bro, with your question. All right. Let's get back to it. Storage. Yes. Some signs of divergence. Oops, I green lighted it accidentally. We'll have to push it to orange. It's funny because I actually am long on CIS. But for this scan, doesn't really fit the bill. I'm long on it because I think there's going to be some news coming in December. And I didn't get the best entry. But you know, pump chase fib, baby. It's pumping. So yeah, I don't know about this scan. I'll put it in purple because I actually have some. I should have it on purple. Theta. It's not even really in its reload zone, is it? I don't even think this can be red. It's just like it's just a little too high in its pattern. It's definitely. Oh wait. Actually, it is entering the space and it's on bullish divergence already. Fuck it. That's orange. I think everything we've looked at just about has either been like delete or orange. So that's good news. That means the entire market is slowing its momentum downwards, or at least the bullish ones. Yep, bullish divergence. And confirmed bullish. That sucks. I was looking at this last week. I messaged my buddies. I was like, Tomo? ? Did I trade it? Nope. But it just confirmed that. So it's green list. So, there's like, if you really want to get aggressive and you're trading on futures, I mean, you could be like, ooh, Tomo just broke out, confirmed bullish market structure. I'm going to paint this pump tracer zone and try to catch it right away. There's that. That's a different type of trading. It's a little more scalpy, a little more direct. For this scan, we're going to have to just, we can't buy that. But it did just confirm all the things we need. So we can start to look for and follow it up as high as it goes. Maybe it goes to here. I find that happens a lot where the 618 ends up aligning with the breakout level. Or, one of the fib levels does. So wherever this ends up going to, and it might be weeks, right? This is a daily chart. It's the other thing, guys. You got to be thinking, it might mean missing it, thinking you missed it. But then a few weeks later, it's going to come in here and just fucking fill you up. The long game, baby. Let's put Tomo right into the green. Nope. Get out of here, Justin, son. Shout out to the producer who's sitting there going, cancel my 5 o'clock, honey. I'm not going to make it for dinner. RT's rambling. VeChain, green list. Look at that. Beautiful. Another one that was sort of like, and this is why I'm doing the scan now, because like things like Tomo and Vet, they took off. And I was like, shit, man, like things are happening. Why haven't I done my scan? Where's my green list? So part of the reason is because of Vet. And, did I miss the whole bloody move? Nope. Am I going to be hunting any chance I get at a reload zone? Yup. Might even pump chase fib this one. I don't know. It's pretty pumpy. I mean, this thing led the fucking bull market this spring with ADA. It was like one of the first big movers. So you can imagine it's going to have a pretty aggressive counter trend rally. And just for the record, for anyone here who's like, where's our targets on all these? It's probably here. I mean, depending on the type of trader you are, you might say, hey, that's a big test pump and the real bull market is like up here. And you might be right. But for me, I'm probably rolling profits, perfect world, get my fill to some degree. And then we do something like that. But I mean, that's through like December, January, February. So even that would be kind of weird seasonally. Seasonally, what I would expect, something more like boring and shitty through all the spring. And it's like here that, it's that May, June stuff that you get crazy. But we'll see. Not here to predict, but that's what I see. That's green list. New lows, go fuck yourself. Nah, let's be chintzy. Let's be chintzy. Chintzier. Smacked this thing on TradingView this summer in our ideas section. Oh, I was very proud of that. Fuck it, let's go take a look. See how it worked. So we were here, flipped resistance. Yeah, hit all our targets. It actually greatly exceeded everything, and it's right back down now. So we can start looking at this again. I mean, yeah, bullish divergence, reload zone, really nice strong move today. Why not? It's almost green. Didn't quite break this level. Orange. No. XLM, not for this setup. XMR, not for this setup. Zill, hell yeah. Love that one. Look at that. Parked. Bullish divergence-ish. Some back here. Failed again. Some more here. Yup. We're going to have such a sweet list. Nah. I mean, okay. Just because a good trader that I know messaged me the other day about ZRX, he's like, yeah, look at it. So I got to include it for further study. Dia, you can see it's kind of new. You don't have a real sense of it. Do we want to risk it? I mean, that's pretty big volume. It's a different kind of trade. But I want to trade it. Again, buddy of mine on the weekend was like, I'm looking at Dia. Well, he is feeling good today. I think he was trading it on futures. Yeah. Yeah, that's a level I'm going to put it there in the green. So shout out to whoever reminded me about Dia. YFI might be bullish. Yeah, gotta include Wi-Fi. Definitely has all the fixins. I mean, you can even see it here. Bullish divergence, breakout, any kind of retests you want to be in. MTA. Hard to tell on here. But yeah, I mean, it definitely looks like it's trying to put in a bottom. 11182. Breakout? Question mark. If that happens, I will go and I will start thinking more aggressively about finding where it peaks and buying that dip. Longer term. I don't know what list to put that on. I guess orange. Kind of breaking rules here. Ave, get out of here. Uni. Ugh. Yeah. Oh, never mind. We have a pump to work with. And I think it is in the reload zone. Go figure. And no way to look at the MACD because it's based on moving averages. So it needs a certain number of days to even kick out a signal. So let's go to the 12-hour. Yeah, I mean, as it made that final low, the MACD turned up a little bit. But it's friggin' Uniswap. We're gonna put this in here. It's actually breaking out right now. All right, BQAX or BQX, the lonely gun there. Now, we've got a big old orange list. This is pretty quick. You can just see visually. A lot of the green list ones I spotted and already put them there, but basically this is just noise for now, so I'm not rushing, so no green. No green. What we need for green is one low, a higher low, a break of the middle. Don't see it there. Most of these are orange, and that's fine. I'll scan the orange basically, like maybe off stream if I was doing this. I would actually go and like set alerts here, right, at this mid-level. So let's do it for ARC 2433. And so green list, question mark, and I'll get that on my phone. It'll remind me, is it time to go and take ARC and put it on my green list? Because if that breaks, any kind of dip is what I'm buying. So I hope that makes sense. I don't know if today I'll set alerts on every one of my orange list because we're on stream and I can scan that later and do some alerts. Probably a few days away anyways. Bancor. Yeah. You guys see it, right? Green list. I'll show you why. Boom. We're in the reload zone. The bullish divergence is there. This is a low, a higher low, a breakout with volume. Really nice. So anything. And at this point, the best case is that it's a wick, obviously, right? Bitcoin breaks, to new highs or does something aggressive, and this is just chilling, and then it goes boop. That's the fill. And on that day, you don't want to be wondering and thinking and using your emotions. You want to have a fucking plan, and you want to have a fucking bid and an alert, and you want to smash it. So Bancor, hell yeah, green light that. No, but I will set the alert on this one because it's pretty clean. If it goes above 32, no, 32. And I will say green list. Clearly no market structure here. Nope. Maybe we've got a nice centerpiece, so that's a pretty high up there, but let's give it 88. Now Doc absolutely mooned. Oh God, this is a 12-hour. Oops. Still same thing. But Doc absolutely mooned this summer. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Elliott wave. A, B, C. It's going to take some time, but it's a mover. Oh, fetch. Arguably. Although this low is a little lower than the right, but it's a Binance IEO, so there's a lot of that kind of shit on those whaley coins. Yeah, I'm gonna green list this one. It's breaking out. I'm gonna call this confirmation of bullish market structure. Slightly on the weaker side, but like not really. So I'm not chasing this candle, but wherever it peaks, I'm gonna have an LZ. FTM. Now here's the thing about FTM. Phantom. On a lower time frame, it did confirm bullish divergence, or excuse me, market structure. And then I caught it, bouncing along this reload zone. Like there's your God tier entry, right? Bullish structure, wait for it, fill it, and go. So on the lower time frame, this is already happening. But for the higher time frame, the daily, not there yet. I did mention that I longed it on the weekend. Kind of messed it up, but this is why. So this is what happened basically on Saturday, Sunday. We had this downtrend. It broke out, came here. Oh, it hurts. It's just so clean. I was staring right at it, but I was trading it on futures versus USDT, and they actually dumped a little harder and did stop me out. The reason that happened is because I was setting too aggressive of a bid. So the times that I do try to get aggressive and pump chase, sometimes it goes to the RLZ. I should just show you guys so that you know what the hell I'm talking about. I hate to say it. I should be having a very exciting day with this, but you see what happened here? Right? I thought I'll be a pump chaser because things are pumping. So I had my bids here, put my stop losses along these lows. Actually, it was 18.5 right here, basically at the bottom of the pump chaser zone, and it just stopped me out. So that's disappointing. It is what it is. And that's why, no major risk. Don't want to get wrecked on any one trade, but look at this. This is why it drives me nuts, because it friggin' tapped my sweet spot, which is probably where I should have been placing my very aggressive bids. So, we're all human. I got caught foaming my own goddamn setup. Meanwhile, the Bitcoin pair was just an absolute smack fest. Perfect. Easy. So, but let's go green because I'm watching that one now. Let's see here. Yeah, I think that's it for the most part. No, we got a few more. No real structure on most of these, and that's good. I don't want 50 pairs on my green list. Ideally, we want just a couple. I mean, this one looks really good. Smaller time frame. So maybe a 4-hour setup in there. 6623. Looks good enough that I want to alert it. Theta, nope, not ready. NEM is trying really hard. Lower low, strong impulse. I don't trust it. I'm going to give this one time. YFI, nah, it's just not exactly the kind of trade I'm looking for in this particular list. We'll keep it on the orange. MTA, I've got the alert set, and Uni is mooning. All right. We'll green list that. I want to keep an eye. Okay, so now we've got our green list. This is it. These are the ones out of all the Binance pairs, other than the ones that aren't on my list, which is probably quite a few, the newer ones, but let's take a look. So yeah, that's pretty simple. 721. I'm getting interested. That's the bottom of the pump chaser zone. So if it pulls and touches that, okay, I'll miss it. But if it gets that reload zone, great. Yeah, APOC Nick, that's exactly it. And they absolutely could be. So just to be clear, okay, so now we're at the green list. I've talked about this before, but I just want to make sure we highlight that. This is how bottoms look. This is not. So I absolutely do think that there is a chance that this is a counter trend rally. It will top here and then it will come down and it'll just be shit. I actually think that there's a probability of that being the case. And that's why none of what I'm doing is about racing into these. It's really about seeing when they come back down, taking a shot against those lows. Problem is, because I think seasonally altcoins do their best through like February, March, April, May, as far as like when to get in, and then they moon through the later part of the spring. That's historical though. So what's going to happen this year? I don't know. So there's the case that this is a test pump. So the pullback is sharp and then the follow-up is actually quite aggressive. And we just go and we're, oh my God, how do we not see that coming? We're in a fucking crazy bull. Historically though, the last few years, it's more like this. Okay, cool, fun. Okay, shit. Yeah, no, yeah. And we just get that for a while until suddenly, it's been 4 or 5 months. Everyone's lost their flavor for altcoins, and then it's go crazy. So yeah, I'm with you, man. I think counter trend rally is quite possible, if not probable, because again, this is just not really how bottoms form. This is probably just a big squeeze, kind of maybe the start of a new breakout. But here's the exciting thing. I mean, this is the thing: big volume, right? If there was no real volume, like let's show you here. I don't know. For example, like here. Just through this, there was no crazy breakout volume until last spring. Go figure, like I was saying, right? January, February, still got washed out, completely back down over the next 2 months in March. Right? So this is like the boredom phase. And then you get the rip phase. So who knows? I guess if I had to be a betting man, I'd say ADA is at resistance and it's going to cool down here. And I'm not going to buy it till it's down into here. If it gets there, and then of course I can risk to the low. And all I need at that point, let's just do ADA because it is on the green list and it does look good. All I need at that point, say I go a sweet spot to get in, risk to the low, that's 13% risk. I just need to make 3 to 1 minimum, which not that far. So for this trade in this case, and if I get crazy, like I might even go and wait and look into the 4 and 1 hour. So then the move down here needs to have bullish divergence, put in a little bullish market structure, and then go. And you see, like even if it looked like this, that's January. This is the daily, right? These are not gonna happen this week. I'm trying to set up for a swing trade. Yeah, like I thought about closing some BLZ today. The other hint that APOC Nick that you're kind of onto something here is that the MAs are still bearish and they're still spread apart. So, we're certainly not done the consolidation. So what I'm really looking for is breakout, dip, continuation, sell. That's the trade for now. Just like that. So BNT is a good one. Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know really what else to see here, guys. I mean, we've got the green list. It's, it's going to be the same for each one of these, not chasing the breakout, but waiting for that first big shakeout. So this is really well done, an example of that. And, risking to the lows, because in that case, it's like, oh, it's not a bull, get the fuck out. And then even this one, I'd probably go 4-1 up to this old resistance. And that's where other TA comes in. Start thinking about, okay, how can I get my my targets set up here? I would use a fib extension to look for confluence. And I got it. Love how this shit works. Seems to happen all the time. So probably take profit here. So I'm risking 23% of my position, but I'm maybe making 85%. Make sense? We got 20 guys left here hanging out. If you guys have any other things, I mean, that's basically it. We've gone way over. I mean, that's okay. Nice long stream today. I want to do this big scan. So basically, I've got this green list, and now I know where I want to look. So when the whole market's moving, when Bitcoin's dumping, when all this shit's happening, all I'm looking at is my green list. And I will do that scan basically every time there's like a new one of these, which it looks like today we're going to get. 2.5 hours left. It does not look like we're going to shoot back up for that to happen. But like, look at that, still going. ETH BTC. It would have to like totally wick down before the daily close, which seems unlikely. So that's sick, guys. Congratulations on us waiting for this risk on window to come back. And then people saying, well, you're missing it. You're going to wait for those reload zones. They may not come. Well, maybe, always maybe, could happen. Like, I bet a level like that, that's ETH BTC pulling back, that's Bitcoin being volatile, and then it's the real, this is the move we want to capture. I don't give a shit about this little breakout move. I get the dip, ride the wave. So this is planning week, and it's very hard to do when you're FOMOing a bunch of different things. You don't have a plan. So hopefully you guys caught kind of a good glimpse of the way I've approached this. I've got a nice short list of about, 15 names. There might be more. Huobi, Bittrex, KuCoin have some unique pairs. You can do scans on those too. I tried to do a super scan one day and it took me 6 hours and I had no energy to even look at the trades after that. So I stopped doing that. Stick to my guns. Binance only. This one looks good. I mean, again, it's so tempting, right? So tempting to just be like, oh, it's breaking out, buy it. But without fail, you start doing that, you're going to be buying so many tops. And you might even be right where you're like, you buy it and 5 months later it's up here, but like you spend your first fucking week underwater. And then you got real decisions to make at the worst locations about cutting your bag when you should be loading up in the reload zone. So, right? You're right in there. And then it's just ding, 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 ding. Why not get long here? It's going to happen. I mean, even my FTM trade from this weekend, I didn't believe in myself, apparently. I was trying to get really aggressive, thinking, oh, I missed everything. I'm going to have to chase it. And then, sure enough, I stopped out while I was in my own goddamn reload zone. So, another lesson learned. Took like a 0.5% hit to my portfolio that day for that trade, which is fine. It just hurts more knowing that it was actually a good setup. I just played it a little wrong, and now it's probably going to smack. But I'm not going to chase it because there's so many on this green list. Versus Bitcoin, FTM hasn't even left the station yet. It's just breaking out. So I want the alert here. That's 137. And we are going to wrap shortly, I think, because the producer, I'm sure, has shit to do, and I'm sure I could use a stretch, maybe a walk. Let's say green list, even though it's already on it. But yeah, when that breakout hits, wherever it ends up going, and then the other thing too, because I said like it's not necessarily a bottom here as much as just a great place for a crazy bounce trend, counter trend rally. I'm risking where like this is the trade or the move. Goes up to this, oops. Maybe comes up here. Maybe that's all we're going to get. And then when it does come back down into my reload zone, it just sucks. And, I don't know. But all I know is this is I've been trading it for a while and it works. So keep doing it. Yeah, with that, we'll wrap, guys. I think a quick, KNC, FTM, FET, these things are moving. MG looks like it's ready to move. In fact, look at this one. I'm glad I remembered to come check this one. This is one that's basically ready. Because look, gosh, it's more of a pump chaser. See, and it gets hard, guys. It's not easy to know which one to do. But you had your structure, and it actually confirmed on the weekend. So any pullbacks are for buying by this trading plan. And did we get the RLZ tag? Oh my God, we did. Fuck. So technically, this is a perfect example of one, even though I've missed it. So if you were getting aggressive, I know a lot of guys that like to just bid the 618. I tend to be more of like a 702, 786 guy, but this market's kind of hot right this second. It's probably better to be living in the 618s, if not the bump chaser zone. So yeah, OMG, damn. And this is where even as a trader, I'm like, wow, do I just FOMO and just take smaller size? Because I know I have to risk to the bottom. I get something out of it because frankly, it just looks like it's about to pop. I could do that. As you saw with FTM, I do that. But I'm risking 20%. So my size is going to be much reduced versus if I have RLZ bids, almost half the risk, AKA twice the size of the position, AKA 2 times as sexy. So this move, I think, APOC, Nick, to your point, this is the kind of move where I'm actually looking more for short reload zones as take profits, not new highs and another bull. Like that could happen, but for this set of trades, I'm really just trying to get into this kind of counter trend rally, short reload zone under the anticipation or expectation that it's, I think probability is probably more like that. Like you said, lower high. And it's like we're going into this kind of washing machine cycle while the market just consolidates through the shitty part of the winter and then into the January, February, March are like the buy windows where you're trying to like collect as many alts as you can on these lows. And then probably later into like April, May is where it's just getting into the good shit. I mean, that's exactly what we saw last year. Is that what we're going to see again? I don't know. But if you were buying in February, March, and January last year, or this year, it aged pretty well. But it took some time. So, all right, guys, with that, I think we better wrap. I'm going to have this green list indefinitely. So we'll review the green list Wednesdays and Fridays on stream. Nick will be back with me on Wednesday. Maybe I'll switch back over to... Okay, guys. So yeah, Nick's going to be back on Wednesday with me as usual in the studio. More like me joining his slide. He's usually our Wednesday guy, but we like to do duos now. And so we'll be on there Wednesday and Friday talking all things crypto. I'll have the green list now. That's why I'm really happy we did this scan because it's going to be serving us for the weeks to come. And we'll see. We'll see how many of those alerts fire, confirm their structure, how many dips we can hunt. And now you guys kind of know how I do it. So hopefully you got enough from that you can try it yourself. Maybe this would be sick. Shout out to anyone in the audience who wants to do one of those scans for Huobi. Somebody maybe volunteer to take Bittrex. Somebody volunteer to take Qcoin, right? And then we put our green lists together. That's the ticket, boys. So, and ladies. So hopefully anyone wants to do that, that'd be sick, because then we'll just have like the best 50 altcoins in all the exchanges. And I have accounts at all those places. It's just too much. It's too much noise for me, and it makes me tired. Then I trade bad. So if you guys want to do that, shout out to you, and we can get together on stream and go over our green list together. So till next time, everybody, always play from a position of strength. Have a great week.